this was a very professionally done way. Like, it was so clean. Like, they must have been using Mr. Muscle the entire time because they were really flexing on them at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, especially Moon, who actually thought he was still the Selena from game number 1 when he entered game number 2 there.
Okay, game 2 wasn't the cleanest of games, but you could definitely see that once he kind of got over of like, oh yeah, that was in game 1. I gotta kind of remember how many items I have. Yeah. Then it became a lot better.
Yeah, but still, very cool stuff Moon was pulling off there.
Okay, maybe not as much Mr. Muscle detergent in that point.
Maybe too much, you know, too much, like
just a little over the top, hyper concentrated. But yeah, it was
like, with the elbow, like press this.
No, but that's the thing. If they are coming out looking like this, can you imagine this next game coming up with Resurgence versus EVOS? If that was the standard being set as the first series of the day, RSG versus EVOS, it's going to be absolutely devastating for either one of these teams because it's either somebody's going to get stomped or this is going to be a hard-fought game. Regardless, it's going to be an exhausting game at best of 3.
I mean, it's definitely going to be very exhausting as well. But anyway, congratulations to Team TODAK as they will be the first team to enter towards the semifinals. And RED Reborn definitely not out of the game just yet. They will be proceeding towards the lower bracket, but who's to say they will never make a comeback after this?
Yeah, and you know, here's the thing. If TODAK wins this upcoming matchup with whoever wins RSG versus EVOS, they get a ticket right to the grand finals itself. So they technically have to play one less best of 3s if they keep up this win streak. But coming back to RSG versus EVOS, there is so much history here.
Too much.
So much. Because previously, we saw a lot of these teams, RSG especially, dominating EVOS in the regular season and then losing in playoffs. And then this is the opposite way around. So it's pretty crazy. But let's look at the talent predictions. And as you can see, a full flush of RSG. And I think it's I can't wait because EVOS might break everybody's souls here.
No, I'm going to tell you two things right now. That is a beautiful royal straight flush as better I can see it. And second, Matthew is going to tag all of us once again. He's going to screenshot this. He's going to be like, I'm coming for you guys again.
Remember what you guys said? Remember what you guys said about your predictions just now? Yeah, honestly, I am excited to see whether EVOS is going to be able to prove the predictions wrong because overall, I think this was a hard choice to make the predictions. Honestly, to me, it's 51 to 49%. The odds on either side, it could go both ways.
It's definitely very even out. But anyway, let's quickly bring up the audience predictions here.
Ooh.
It looks like Resurgence once again. The audience is also on the sides of the talents here with 80%, while EVOS with 20% on their side. But I'm pretty sure everyone's just going on the basis of both analysis and stats alone. And seriously, you guys can't just bet on the stats alone when you guys are comparing between both of these teams, because not only do they have a lot of history, they have insane amount of mechanics and gameplay that they actually bring inside the game, which you have to actually watch firsthand to actually witness on how hard each of these games and each of these clash both of these teams are throwing at each other.
Yeah, it's really a lot of experience coming in from both of these teams, and I think, you know, EVOS, I think that people are not giving EVOS as much credit as they should be, because overall, their regular season, not exactly the best we've seen for them, but at the end of the day, as long as you're in the upper bracket, it really doesn't matter if they win the entire thing. So I'm excited to see whether or not they're going to break the mold and really prove a lot of people wrong, but they still got it.
I mean, yeah, they definitely still got it as well, but in this case, should I like just start unbuttoning everything, just like rip off EVOS SG just to like promote everyone's like, hey!
Only until I get like the RSG jersey and then we can like,
do it together, right? Matthew, you heard it here, folks. Matthew send what, mail it to Gideon like today. But anyway, let's bring up the one campaign that has been going on for quite a bit as well, which is basically Make-A-Wish campaign. Mainly, you guys or 11 people stand a chance to actually wish for anything you want. And if you guys were selected or win it during this campaign, you get your wish answered.
I'm really curious to see if anybody has wished for, like, I want a day out with one of my favorite players. Like, I'm curious to see how many people have put that in comparison to, like, I want all the skins, I want all the heroes, I want all this.
I know, I'm surprised because, like, you guys can ask for anything.
Yeah.
Like, anything. Like, as long as it's MLBB related, anybody, like, even a person itself, you can ask for it as long as you win it.
I wonder if anybody has like put weird answers like I want to sleep in LY Force bed.
Or I want the blanket Moon is using.
like, does it get... I'm really curious to see, like, the general consensus of what the answers were.
Now I'm really curious how weird or how dark the wishes is, you know? It's just like, can you imagine, like, Mutu just reading it, right? It's just like, oh my lord. But
I could do it. Just be like, not even worried about it at all. But yes, remember, this is RSG versus EVOS, a historical matchup that happens every single season. It's like, it's crazy how often this happens.
I mean, definitely for sure. But then again, this is EVOS potentially last season as well. So either way, let's quickly bring out the intro video between both of these titans of Singapore. I'm really glad and
there are only 2 Singaporean teams that got into the playoffs, us and Resurgence. It's probably fate that we have to face each other first.
Mendapatkan tahu di botol dari pistol, datang di bahagian belakang. Okey, so cuba untuk 1 lawan 2 tapi di mana kebantuannya?
I am satisfied with our regular season's run, but playoffs is where we show our true colors. After all, we are the defending champions.
Baik, KZP di balik KZP untuk bertahan dan akhirnya mulai menjatuhkan Mark.
This matchup is definitely very special, especially for me. With the history of constant rivalry, I can't wait to face them again and send them to the lower bracket.
So far, no other team has been able to achieve back-to-back titles. I believe we have what it takes to set the record.
This is likely the last time we'll be playing against RSG in MPL Playoffs, as we'll be retiring after this. Let's see who's the best Singapore team, once and for all.
I believe both teams will give our best, and whoever wins will have a high chance to win it all too. So let's do this.
man, right in the heart.
Yeah, it really hurts. It really hurts to hear that this is potentially, you know, the last game that they're ever going to be matching up. But luckily, it's in the upper bracket, so they still have another opportunity for either one of these teams to meet each other in the finals, or maybe somewhere in the lower bracket.
I mean, inevitably, already expected to see both of these teams. They will definitely have to face with each other for sure. But then again, didn't expect to see them this early. But of course, that's because of the group stage during the group stage of the regular season. That's why they're fighting first. But you know, we're going to be seeing them again in the grand final. So yeah, you know, we'll see them eventually.
Well, hopefully. We're just going to have to wait and see. And I don't know what Aeon must be going through. This must be like more of an emotional roller coaster for him, especially because he initially came from Resurgence, moved over to EVOS, and now he's beating the team he started his name with. So, it's one of those situations.
I mean, it definitely will be a great honor for him. But either way, let's look at this player lineup. Starting with Resurgence, we have LY4, Sana, Jason, KZP, Singh, and Fossa, who is currently the defending champion from the previous season of MPL Season 5. Will they be the first team to be 2-time champions? We shall see. But of course, EVOS SG, currently one of the biggest wall they'll be facing right now.
And that's going to be EVOS SG, their longtime rivals in the MPL itself since the beginning of time. It's going to be Pokemon, Potato, Aeon, JPL, Soul, and Talk CEO.
Oh man, like this very... Although yes, it may... We're definitely going to be seeing them back again in the grand finals, but this game alone will dictate literally who will be going up against TODAK in that semi-final, which is going to be really intense as well, but not as intense as the current game we're going to be witnessing right now as we bring out the player stats for Team Resurgence here with their most picked hero and their total KDA.
Yep, and obviously you're seeing just outstanding numbers from all over across the board from each one of these players. I mean, even just the Yi Shin on LY4 himself having some pretty ridiculous KDAs. Yes. It was 32, 6, and 27. My goodness.
And remember, Yi Shin is actually one of his favorite picks back in the day as well. So the fact that Yi Shin is currently, not to say back into the meta, but then again back into the game, must have been a really happy moment for LY4.
Absolutely. And you know, overall, I think this team has been definitely strong since last season. They still have a great opportunity to actually take the title 2 times in a row, which hasn't been done before in MPL, well, MPL-MY SG history. I'm thinking about it and realizing, like, yeah, there have been multiple winners in the other MPLs, huh?
Viva la
yeah. Oh boy,
Right,
yeah. This is going to be a really difficult matchup here, and even analyzing it here on this day, it doesn't bring any less pain that one of these teams will have to go into the lower brackets.
Hey, I mean, you see it as pain, I see it as a great honor because like both of these are not only defending champion, but one of the biggest teams, or titans in this case, of Singapore. So this is the craziest civil war which we're ever going to see, and both of these teams looking the sharpest and the best inside of MPL season history. By the way, this is the lineup for EVOS SG with their most big hero and also their total KDA with it. And most important, I just want to give a big shout out to the fact that Potato has, what he used to shit is 58, 14, 43. That's like twice as much as L14. But then again, L14 has been adapting and has been switching between marksmen here.
Yeah, and I think the biggest question is whether or not both of these are going to be able to carry their teams with the help of their supports, because again, there are multitudes of supports, multitudes of cores that you could be using. The Hellcrits have been coming back into play.
Right.
We're also seeing the Harrods pop up a lot more, so that's going to be putting a big question mark on some of these other players across the board. And, if you need a secondary core here, who's going to be playing that role?
I mean, it's definitely going to be decided based on the drafting as well. Because remember, ever since the jungle came back, we saw AR reverting back to what he usually plays, based on mage heroes. Although, let's be honest, I'm still a big fan of how he plays with his tank when he was playing as the tank support with the healers and the rest of the heroes. But seeing him playing the mage is, of course, it has always been a great feeling. But this is the team stats between both Resurgence and EVOS SG, and let's be honest, very, very similar all across the board, except the huge significance coming out for Resurgence with the first tower rate here of 64% compared to EVOS SG with 45.
I mean, RSG on paper has the better score in almost every single aspect except average lord average lords per game with only a 0.1 differential. Everything else is either the same or higher. So on paper, RSG is looking to be the favorites in these games. Even with unique hero picks, they have 4 more than EVOS in this particular section. 22 games played overall. That's probably why we're seeing a lot more of these standards here, because EVOS, they did win a lot more of their games more cleanly in those 2 O's.
Ooh, man, and I love this player hit-to-hit comparison as well between both Sana and Soul as well. Both playing as one of the main fighter roles inside here of both of these teams as well, and coming just based on their stats alone, like average gold per minute is like very huge significant, of course. Which I'm going to point out first, 602, well, they are 272. But you also must take into account as the fact as Soul has always been playing a very adaptive situation, like very situational when it comes to his picks. He's always either roaming, he's either going for ganks, or he's just sitting in the lane and just farming all the way. It's always depending on his team composition and their situation.
Yeah, but he's just been etching it out overall. Like, Sana has an overall gold per minute, a higher gold per minute average here. But the only reason it's that way is because they've technically played more games, and some of their games extend pretty long. EVOS, if they had an average game time stat here, EVOS's games are generally pretty short. They are either taking people out or they're waiting to the point where they can.
Yeah, but either way, this is the map prediction by our dear friend Analysis here. We're going to be seeing both Pokemon and LY4 in the gold lane. JPL and KCP is going to be roaming around. AR is going to be going towards that mid lane, and both Sana and Potato will be in that jungle. Sick and Soul will be in that EXP lane.
This is going to be an interesting matchup from both of these sides. I'm not entirely sure how the draft is going to go in particular, but knowing that who the players are behind these heroes, it's going to be a banger, that's for sure. I
mean, it's a banger or not, it's going to be all coming out. And the best part, we also noticed that sometimes the L4 doesn't necessarily have to go to the gold lane. Because remember, some of the marksmen like Roger and Yisushi can be also great jungles as well. So them shifting towards the jungle opens up other options for you to go for that side lane.
I think it's pretty interesting because the predictions is specifically telling us that Sana is going into the jungle, and I've always seen him as a pure fighter, just like Soul, going into that EXP lane in general.
But of course, we're going to be bringing out their friend here, which is going to be a great amount of prize, because the more viewers we have here, then you get a standard chance to win all of these amazing prizes. And of course, you saw previously with 30,000, 40,000, now 50,000 viewers, you get all these amazing skins. But guess what? There is way more. If we hit all the way up to 120K here, this is all you're going to get. So get your friends, get your mom, get your dad, get all your friends into this room right now and just join and watch and enjoy the show.
Yeah, because again, we want to be able to give back to you guys. So hit those numbers, break those milestones, show us that you are watching along with us, and we'll be able to help you out with those prizes.
Oh man, it's just seriously looking at the amount of price is absolutely insane.
No, it's shocking. It feels like they've been saving, like, you know, every single time, like, regular season, they'll be like, oh, by the way, here's a code sometimes. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
by the way. It's like they've been saving, compiling all of them to be like, oh, here's the one big drop that y'all going to be fighting for.
I mean, that's right, viewers. At least now you're going to have fully enjoy instead of waiting all the way towards the end of the game just to get that promo code. By the way, let's quickly bring up the draft as this is the first game between both of the Titans here and Resurgence starting on the blue side, having the first pick and first ban, and instantly starting things off. They ban away the Selena.
Very understandable. Natalia coming in from EVOS SG side. A very annoying assassin, able to get a lot of control around. Oh, looks like Aeon does have the blanket buff, but LY4 doesn't have bed buff this time. I don't know if that's going to be a significant factor, but we're just going to have to wait in terms of the draft to see how that's going to come into effect. I mean, look at him. For once, we can actually see his legs.
I mean, then again, he is still lying down, though, you know? So
You know, you're kind of right. That's kind of true.
he's still lying down, so maybe he got that partial buff, right? But anyway,
Semi-bed buff?
semi-bed buff, yes. But now coming back into this, we saw the second best coming from both this team. Of course, it's going to be Yutong and the Forza. So what's your take on this one? Like, for me, seeing for the side of EVOS SG, the fact that they're just trying to make sure that we do not want anyone to cut our creeps. We do not want like any way for you guys to defend our pushes or any ways coming to the mix here with this Forza. Or am I just pretty much mistaken in this case?
Well, I don't have as much foresight as I used to when it comes to like predetermining what the drafts are, because there's so much versatility in the drafting phase alone. So they're trying to just take out the strong picks as of now. And remember, a lot of it is being targeted on the people who play these heroes. You know, Pokemon on the Khalid, Souls, Yuzong, and getting rid of these big playmakers who have consistently been working out for the side of EVOS SG. It just makes sense.
Dude, I'm actually really concerned right now, right? Because Barat has not been up to ban yet.
No, they're leaving it. EVOS has to make that decision, and that's why blue side has that advantage. You're forcing your opponents on red side. It's either red side opens everything up, or they have to take it away.
It's pretty much the dynamics of the drafting phase as well. So, oh man, no, I'm just trying to figure out here, right? Okay, if they don't ban, if they
left Barat open,
if they leave Barat open and Resurgence were to have an opportunity to take or not, do they want to prioritize the Barat or not? Does it fit their playstyle? We know it fits EVOS SG because Pokemon does a really fantastic job with the Barat, but does it work the same case for Resurgence here?
Well, it depends whether Resurgence actually had a predetermined plan or not of what they wanted their draft to be. Like, were they expecting a Barat to go through? And if they pick up Barat, what are they losing in return? Because, again, 2 picks are coming in from red side the moment Barat gets locked in. And what could you potentially pick up? You could potentially pick up a carry, someone who's like, I don't care how much health you have, the more health the better.
Ooh, but either way, still not gonna take the risk, and also fully understanding the might of this beast here for themselves. They're gonna lock it down here, and that's gonna be Barat. Now EVOS SG, but then again, they are up to pick up any playmakers which they are able to offer themselves here, like Esmeralda's, Cho, Uranus. They're all pretty much really great picks here, and as we know as well, very scary when they play the Esmeralda.
Yeah, extremely scary. It's one of those things where if you have a lot of shields in your composition, and you'll notice like, oh, I'm dying pretty fast, I wonder why. It's most likely Esmeralda just stealing it away. It almost feels unimpactful, but when she is absorbing your shields and realizing that I can't necessarily kill this girl, that's when it becomes a significant problem, and in most times it's way too late. Yep, there we go, Esmeralda, as well as the Jawhead. I like both.
KZP, I'm already dancing, boy. Like, I just love it when KZP plays the Jawhead, because remember, just locking down the Jawhead alone, right? Not only are you able to deny, wait, what? Oh no.
No, I'm just gonna let that sit for a while.
Oh,
just wait for it.
Okay, so sorry, it's not KZP. Sorry.
And I'm the dyslexic one here. Hey.
No.
Don't worry.
I got too hyped for it.
You saw the hero and you were just thinking about it like 24/7. You like hyper focused on it, like, yo, it has to be KZP playing Jawhead. I can't see anybody else playing it.
I mean, I'm just a big fan. No, seriously, I'm a big fan. But then again, yes, just picking the Jawhead alone just allows you to deny that blue how many times just with the ejector alone. It's going to be a huge nuisance, especially since they already know that LY4 will be locking that Yisushin for himself since Roger has already been banned away.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. But I love the flex picks coming in from both sides, things that kind of fulfill multiple roles here. Like Harith is a great example because he is your secondary. He can technically play as your support. He is isn't the most effective at it. However, he scales so well into the game that it almost doesn't matter. And the fact that they have Esmeralda as well is like, what other options does RSG have to go for? They have to take the physical damage. They're taking the Yishin Shin. They're making sure that their offlaners are strong as well. One of the strongest duelists by far, Thamus, is here because, once again, we don't have access to Khalid or the Yuzong.
I mean, definitely for sure. They have to make an option, but whether it fits the comp or not, we'll just have to see. But anyway, in this case, we're going to be moving towards the second ban phase here, and both teams instantly getting rid of the mage carries here, both being Veil and Valero for good reason as well, because both of these heroes, they need not only control but a huge amount of teamfight nukes here.
Yeah, I think Veil is actually a pretty good ban. I mean, we do know Jason does pick it up once in a while, but the fact that it's area denial and area control, especially with the lineup that EVOS has right now, where they kind of want to group them up into one place to allow Esmeralda to get on multiple targets, and the AoE coming in from a lot of their from Harith himself. Wow, I totally forgot Harith's name for a second there. I was about to call him a white rat.
A white rat.
Yeah, no, legit. I thought it was like, oh, what's that white rat?
He's
again.
Actually, honestly, is he a fox or a raccoon in this?
He's definitely a fox, right? Right?
Comment down in the comment section below if you think it's a fox or not. But
hey, joke's on you, Harith's just a weeb.
But anyway, the last ban will be taken away. It's going to be the Chang, and I think it's a really great one as well. Although yes, Jason could have tried to opt it for himself, but there is still the existence of the Esmeralda. So getting rid of the shield will be quite a nuisance, but there's still the nukes and the wave clear, which both teams are really trying to opt to go for here.
I mean, are they even considering whether they want to go low yi at this point? Because I mean, they've taken out like a good chunk of the carry type of the hyper, super bursty type mages. So now they're going to be reverting to something like the Kagura, things like that forces you to get the shield. The Kadita as well as the Veil doesn't necessarily want to go in close, and Kadita is hard to catch. So even though Esmeralda can jump on top of her, she just waves away, doesn't really care about it. Chang'e on the other side, all right, sure, but do they necessarily want to give it over to EVOS SG considering their lineup? Because again, she doesn't necessarily have the CC like a Eudora. Veil, sorry, what's that?
Eudora? Aurora?
I was thinking of Aurora. Yeah, Aurora has the stun, but not as reliable as the Eudora. You see why I was getting the mix-up there?
No, okay, so we're both pretty much even here, right?
Okay, all right, fair enough, fair enough.
No, so the thing is, it's like, the reason why I was like just pointing out the Chang'e in particular is because in this case, it's just wave clears, right? I wouldn't say the usage and the rest of the team doesn't really have, they do not have wave clears. It's just that it's not as clean or as quick compared to like Farsight, Lair, or even Veil. So anyway, both locking down both the Lunox and the Box here as well. That's a lot of meat bags to really go through here, seriously.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that they actually wanted, because this would have been a pretty decent composition if they wanted to go to something like Atlas, but I guess they are that afraid of, Atlas just having such a weak early game that they can take full. No, don't. Stop it. Stop it. It's dead. That video has been, that video was like how many months ago? Ages ago. It was like, what? 5-6 months ago?
5 months ago. 5 months.
5 months ago at this point in time. Let it die. No. Let it die.
KCP never dies.
Oh, that's about to change once this game starts. But yeah, looking at both compositions, it's pretty even and both has some form of counterplay. But what is that last pick? Soul, give it to us. All right. All right. It makes sense. If one Jawhead wasn't enough, bring in two.
Yes, baby. We're going in.
We are going in here. Double Jawhead composition.
Double ejectors, baby.
Oh, boy.
No, this is the strat. They're going to keep throwing them all the way back to the fountain.
They're gonna oh, that would no, I honestly want to see an all for nothing where it's just like five Jawheads, each one ejecting the other teammate over to kind of like play hopscotch until they get to the enemy, and then all of them just unstoppable forces on one fool. Ooh, that would be brutal. But it's time to get into this game here. Resurgence versus EVOS SG. One opportunity to settle the score before they retire.
I mean, definitely for sure. But at the same time, what do you guys think for their last pick for themselves here? before he jumped in the mix. But either way, before Gideon, hold that answer of yours, because right now, looking at a beautiful view of the graphics of the Land of the Dawn, we're about to see the biggest fight of today, of day number 1 of the playoffs.
Looks like they locked in Xborg for the side of EVOS. I kind of like it because at least you have some form of counterplay, especially if you're pairing up against the Barat lane or even arguably the Thamus lane. So let's see how this plays out. Once again, EVOS going to be looking to start things off strong.
Strong indeed, and look at the bottom lane as well. Xbox, our dear friend Pokemon, definitely not going to be having the tough time. Same goes for the top lane as well as Soul playing with the Esmeralda. And as it is already, like we were saying, that early game for the Esmeralda is not really as fun compared to the mid game, and the fact that she's already dealing against both huge amount of damage, by the way, and with the Boxer as well, definitely not a fun lane for Soul.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is some great understanding of the matchup coming in from both Sana and Soul. Like I mean, these guys are pure offlaners. They don't usually play other things here. Pokemon, he doesn't mind going in and out of the damage, but he's got to be very consistent with it. And that's kind of the issue here, because you are limited by your range when you have the Firaga armor, putting you in very tight spots and sometimes even gankable spots.
Definitely for sure. And I just love the fact that the amount of pressure that RSG is just constantly applying just to ensure that LY4 is going to be able to have a really clean and safe farm. But Soul is going to be able to hit that level 3 and will be able to sustain a little bit of that damage coming out from Sana.
Yeah, and I think right now, Resurgence is trying to min-max as much as they can, sending a lot of solo laners here. LY4, he's in a lot of trouble trying to get on the Harith. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
They didn't even need the Zaman Force there. The damage coming out of JPL with that ejector, well played.
Really well played stuff as well. And the best was as well, great assumption expectation too when they saw that the blue was still standing as well. There's only one option where LY4 actually was going to opt to go for another camp. But anyway, KZP definitely not having the time as well. JP is going to be able to eject him, but not all the way to the back line, because he knows that he doesn't want to have a boxer towards that back line for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel that backline box here would have been nice.
I guess,
because then they would be super overextended there. I mean, it's hard to control it. I'm not gonna deny that. It is hard to target at the same time as making sure that you're getting the right target when you're that close to somebody. And unfortunately, in that situation, he just got launched up in the air and way back down. He didn't get flicked back in towards the towers, their red side of the map. And I think with the extra distance, they might have forced the disengage.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But at the same time, they also take it. Ooh, hey, on! Play with it. Literally on a tightrope there between life and death there. But yes, maybe the fact that they didn't really eject KCP all the way to the back line, because they just know that the fact that Boxer still has that revitalization, so still going to be able to sustain, still going to be able to combat a little bit longer. Remember, they don't really have their ultimates except for the Harith here with the Zaman Force.
Yep, they're making sure their timings of the objectives, of these neutral objectives are on point here. Right now, RSG is trying to take the turtle by themselves, but they're forced to, they have to let it go. There's just too many members of EVOS just running down towards this side. It's going to be a 4v5, and that's not exactly the best odds. But if they just buy time, this is going to allow Sana in the top side to start stealing away, resources from EVOS SG.
Definitely for sure, but because Pokemon's got to be a little bit careful there, because he's a little bit too close to Singh, who has quite the amount of stacks on top of it as well. But Soul doing significant amount of damage towards Sana. Sana really popping out that ultimate as well, just to try to force her back, and eventually Soul will just have no choice but to let Sana go.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, that's unfortunate, because Sana was trying to take away the red buff. I thought he had it, but Soul managed to steal away. But Jason, he gets ejector over JPL, now out of position. They're forcing a full-on fight, ultimate putting it to sink, but that Revitalize is keeping up so healthy. Harith, even with the Zaman Force, ain't gonna be enough, so Pokemon takes him out with that last Insanity. JPL flickering forward, finally getting KZP. That's gonna be 2 kills for nothing in favor of EVOS SG.
This is really great what EVOS SG is actually really trying to go for, right? Try to get as many early game fights as much as possible. Get that early game dominance, because once that early to mid game transition happens, then they will have such a lead, even regardless of having the fact that Barat is still on the side of Resurgence, because they still have enough damage. They have all the items to melt down even a beefy monster like Barat.
Yeah, and this is so far so good of a start for EVOS SG. However, it's pretty even, I would say so at the very least. Darkening coming out from Jason here as KZP starts rolling forward, gets one, Sink's in trouble, he goes down, he can't go any further. Potato still alive, but KZP is able to reclaim that kill. A 1-for-1 trade, not the best, considering that EVOS had the numbers advantage and first initiative, but Resurgence, they aren't letting this game go without a fight.
I mean, definitely for sure. Everyone is trying to go for trade-offs here. And this is the part where EVOS has to remind themselves of the fact that despite us having, beautiful ejector with the Ensemble Force as well, KCB is going to be doing quite an amount of damage, but sadly the tower will not target KCB one last time, allowing KCP to walk out of that situation alive.
Yeah, and as of right now, Sana is doing a pretty good job. He's still pretty healthy, and he's also creating a lot of space for LY4 to kind of just farm safely. He is sacrificing lane wave, gold, and EXP such that LY4 can come back, at least minimize his initial death. Because Potato is level 8 to LY4 is level 7 as of right now. Potato now taking some damage here, but, Sync taking some damage from Pokemon, but the rest of the team just hovering around this blue buff. They're just waiting for an opportunity. Unstoppable Force again onto KZP, Revitalize being popped. Sync can't get into the fight quick enough to get that initial catch with the ult.
It's really difficult as well because, like I was mentioning earlier as well, like Barat, yes, all you can do is just pretty much get away from him. He's not very mobile. It's really hard for him to really get on top of all these agile mobile heroes here. So he was actually really keeping that distance, picking their fights really methodically as well, really being really calculative about it, but with that calculation alone really gives them quite the lead and that dominance so far.
Yeah, and more importantly, I think Sing was still, when he was walking up to join the fight, he still had 2 seconds left on cooldown for his flicker, so even if he wanted to make a play, he didn't even have the tools.
Yeah. By the way, Pokemon finally getting that immortality, which is going to be really crucial for the side of the team here. This allows EVOS SG to be a little bit more aggressive should the fight really count, because right now we see Resurgence slowly retaliating, especially towards his top side.
Yep, they're just playing the map. Once again, it's going to be KZP getting ejected here, but Turtle has been slain, and now they are on the run. Potato already popping up his ult, but the backline is gone. He is gone once again. Pokemon, huge last insanity, chucking out all 3 members coming in for Resurgence, trading 1 for 1. This fight is even. Jason survives with 1 health. Sync, can he pick up that kill on and break that immortality? Yes, he does. He still has his ult, but again, he doesn't have nearly enough damage. That fight was a lot more even. However, the one difference was made when Resurgence set up bot wave better than EVOS SG.
Yes, definitely for sure. Right now, Resurgence currently in the lead based on just towers alone, but of course the gold lead is still in the favor of EVOS SG, but by a significant or very small difference here. But it will be significant very soon, depending on which team will be taking that aggressive initiative first. And let's be honest, Sing is doing what he really does best, and it's just split push towards that bottom lane.
Yeah, right now Resurgence knows for a fact that they can't win these full hard-on team fights, especially when one of their members gets picked off. The speed of which EVOS has their burst is way too high. Resurgence now understand that and are playing the map perfectly here, trying to take these smaller objectives along the side to kind of buy some time for the big guns, LY4 as well as Jason, to make something happen. Once again, KZP is going to get ejected right back into the team. Pokemon is going straight on. Revitalize is not going to protect you from a last insanity. The burst is too good. They find the pick onto Eudora here, onto Potato here, and now the full fight breaks out. All hell breaks loose. Zaman Force is unstoppable as LY4 has lost his front line, and now this is going to be a fight going over to EVOS SG without a doubt.
But then again, Potato wants to try to clear this and push out this bottom lane to at least open things up and allow the entire team to try to push them down. But Pokemon try to go for the bait, will be able to cancel out the TP as well. Sing has to be really careful about it, but Sally will be able to allow Pokemon to get the mega kill and potentially will even lock down this bottom tier 1 tower.
Oh, that was huge. That was huge. And now Potato, he's got the magic damage as well, so he will be able to shred right through that turret just purely with the Chrono Dash.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you were asking me, like, what can he do against the Barat, right? Just leave. I said, leave him alone. Just go to the back line. That's pretty much what they did. They did, yes, significant amount of damage with Sing, but they straight away turned their priorities towards that back line, and instantly Resurgence losing 4 members. They instantly lost everything else, and Sing, he can't do anything alone. He's not that big just yet.
Yeah, but Soul, on the other hand, he is getting bigger by the second.
Oh, yeah.
He has not had a single death in this game, just like Pokemon, and both of them are being the forerunner, saving a lot of these situations when they start these fights against Resurgence. And now Resurgence on the back foot, they want to fight, but also they have to be extremely careful because their team fight isn't as good. The Brilliance is going to be popped up by Lunox here. Jason slowly going to peel backwards. No Darkening just yet. He needs to get the the bar into the dark zone. It's rest of Soul as well as Sync just, you know, touching tips at this point in time. None of them doing any significant damage to each other.
Yes, but LY4 doing a really great job as well, seeing the fact that his teams will not die easily to the full brunt of EVOS SG. Will split push towards this bottom lane and will safely secure that tier 2 tower.
They're playing the map well. Resurgence, how long can they keep this up? JPL is going to be the first to get caught here. Smart missiles coming out as well. Soul, he's hovering around, but they are coming in from a flank angle here. Falling Star Moon isn't going to land, and now they're on the run. 4 versus 5. Pokemon coming in with the last Insanity. Can they turn this route? Flickers forward, chunks the backline. KZP is on the run, but Sinky's still alive, trying to make it on out of there. They can't seem to get the damage on the right targets here, as KZP still on the run as Potato and Aeon, even though they were able to get their damage out, it just didn't matter. JPL, is he gonna get caught off there? Yes, he does. Unstoppable Force ain't gonna stop him. The backline now in trouble as Potato once again has the Salmon Force. Misses the last one. We're able to cave with the Chrono Fissure once more. 2 go down, 2 for 1. KZP on the run as Aeon last hit dies over to the Darkening. This fight isn't stopping just yet. 2 for 3 in favor of Resurgence. Finally, they back away.
Really well played stop as well, but then again, the fight is not over this as the Mountain Shock is going to be coming in as well. KZP nowhere to run at all once he gets slowed down, and with the Salmon Force and the Chrono Dashes, Potato is going to be able to secure another kill for himself. But I'm going to call it right here, right now. Sync did a phenomenal job just peeling that fight alone. I'm not even kidding.
Yep.
Like, he committed, like, he could have used his flanger to go towards his backline just to get on top of Potato, but no. He saw Soul on top of LY4, and LY4 not having the best of time either. Everyone, that communication was so clean, they all just reverted back, dropped everything what they were doing. They're like, LY4 has to stay alive. He has to live.
Yep. I mean, they use everything, every trick in the book to get out of that. I mean, Aeon, his job is pretty easy, but if he's caught out of position, he will die to Sana alone if he doesn't have a stun up to kind of buy him that time. And LY4, he played that well. He kept on cutting backwards, kept hitting the targets in front of him, kept up with the kites, and it just helps so much that his entire team just peeled for him. Jason obviously can handle himself with the Brilliance. It's a get out of jail card for free. But now EVOS on the attack once more. KZP once again trying to make sure that he is disrupting JPL as much as possible. As long as their front line doesn't get dispositioned in a place where they can get bursted. Just like that. EVOS, they were going for it the entire time, but this time it's going to be Soul who falls victim to the same strategy.
Oh, dude, it's really hard because right now Resurgence just decided to just group up right now in this case. And LY4, yes, he is still farming, but he's very adapted to it. He's like, he knows when to farm and knows when to join the rest of the fight with his team as well. And it's put EVOS actually into the pinch as well because they can't simply jump in, especially since Sync is full mode just protecting LY4. He's even just right next to him as well. He's like, you want my brother, you gotta get through me.
Yeah, this is a tough stalemate from both sides. I think EVOS has also kind of realized that if they don't pick the right place at the right time, that Resurgence have learned from their previous mistakes that they were just at the wrong place at the wrong time, so they have to control the variables as much as they can.
And especially as well, like, yes, although Potato will be already hit the level 15 before LY4, but LY4 is not far behind. He's actually very close. And once he gets even more items, it's going to be really difficult for them to actually not just to pick him off, but he's going to go, or not only they will not able to sustain the amount of damage that she's going to be bringing out.
Yeah, and now look at this. Soul is getting absolutely destroyed. Jason is huge in this game on this Lunox. It doesn't even matter how many shields she had. Soul just disappeared, and now KZP going in full-fledged. Even Jason with the Darkening as well, trying to push them out of position. JPL, is he going to go for the ejector? Not this time. He's going pretty deep. Pokemon last Insanity finds the first one, but he comes back with the Immortality. He hops over the wall, and it looks like it's good for the side of Resurgence.
And don't forget, they instantly had to back out as well. They can't be too greedy too, because the minute they saw Sync popping up, and let's be honest, Sync has a lot of stacks on it. This big boy is ready to go. But at the same time, EVOS SG did a really great job forcing that top lane to be pushed in. They instantly have to fall back. But Pokemon, on the other hand, he has an Immortality, but instantly get burst down, and I don't think he's going to be able to live long enough to see the day.
Oh no, it's not going to be enough. Aeon, that's so dirty. He didn't want to miss, so he flickers forward, but the rest of the EVOS team team is here to try and win this fight. The backline now in trouble. MY4 getting a good snipe into that backline, ensuring that Aeon, the squishiest member amongst them, goes down first. Even with the Zavin Force, Potato can only do so much, but he turns it around, tries to get on top, but he's getting suppressed as well. KZP gets knocked up. It's not going to be enough. LY4, he's got a complete shooting ground here. They can't stop him. They can't get off of him once more. He gets suppressed. Nothing Soul can do. KZP going in for the dive, and finally the Molten Size, a clean ace coming in for Resurgence.
Oh, dude, well played. Seriously, just well freaking play coming in for the team. Just constantly peeling, holding, tanking, and ensuring that LY4, this boy, this brother of theirs, will be able to just casually lean back and just slice and dice all the way.
Oh my goodness, this level of team fighting capabilities from both of these sides, nobody is letting the other make a single mistake. They will hold their ultimates until they absolutely need it if they have to. Like, the amount of patience it must have taken for Sync to hold that ult to make sure that they get the right targets, just well done.
Well, and also don't forget about his flicker as well. Like, he only uses it either unless he knows he can get towards that back line, or just to ensure they can get on top of LY4 just to defend him, because literally all EVOS has to do right now is just shut LY4 down and then peel the rest of the teams here. By the way, JB is going to be able to find Sana, ejects him all the way to the back line, but Aeon gets caught by KZP, instantly gets nuked down, and that's going to be a monster kill for our dear friend LY4. Lord is pushing in, they don't have Aeon, but here comes the Detona, Vulcan, and throwing them all the way to the back line. Is literally anarchy right now. It's Potato trying to spread, pops down to Zama Force, dashes his back and forth, but this is LY4 we're talking about, and Jason just constantly nuking down with the Chaos Assault, and 2 members will fall, but so goes the top tier 2 tower as well.
And this is good. Resurgence knows they have a significant, well, not even the biggest of leads compared to what we've seen them do before, but just enough to ensure that they can win these team fights underneath inhibitor towers, and that in itself, it's 15 to 15, 17 minutes into the game, 6K goal difference. They are on the run. Pokemon going in, try and clear the wave as quick as he can.
Oh no!
Oh no! Daytona, welcome! Oh, it didn't go all the way through. Oh boy!
That was a really close call. Seriously, if Potato, sorry, not Potato, if Pokemon actually got caught in front of Daytona's welcome, there is no one that's going to be able to stop this onslaught. Although yes, Aeon can do quite an amount of damage, but Sing is a really big boy, and let's be honest, LY4 is hitting more than a truck in this case.
Yeah, he really is. Just the AoE damage coming in from Sing alone as well. Like, if they're clumped up too close, like, it will start to show. That damage will start to stack up really, really high. And as of right now, I can't tell what they can actually do for the side of EVOS SG to start winning these fights. I think they really have to push Sync out of position, but Sync, he's already flickering forward, looking for the Daytona.
No, he got him!
He got him! He got the right target! Aeon, once again, can't play this game without somebody telling him otherwise. Potato, the next to fall to the darkening. Once again, Jason, so healthy. LY4, so healthy. He doesn't even care. Ejector me, unstoppable force. That ain't gonna stop me once again. Pokemon losing his Firaga armor, and Soul, he's on the run. He knows he can't do any more than this.
Oh, dude, like, how is that even possible? He got him, like, got Aeon all the way from the back line. By the way, this is going to be the one final push. KTB so low, but they don't care. They don't want to kill. They just want to hit this throne. But then again, beautiful play coming from Pokemon, able to clear out that minion wave. But Soul, trying his best, will be able to get out alive. And with the fire state, he's going to be able to scorch and burn Sana a little bit more. But here comes the Mountain Stronger just to give a little bit more information towards his team.
Yep, and once again, the cavalry has finally started to spawning in and are running it down towards the mid lane to protect their last few inhibitors here. That was a huge blow for them, but at the very least, EVOS, they have the goal to start coming back into it.
Right.
At this point, you are playing on situational items. Everybody has their natural core items. They are at maximum level. It doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And right now, EVOS SG, I feel like the only thing they can actually just do right now is just avoid these team fights, or especially just get away from Sync in this case, because he's he's literally too big for them to handle right now. They need to go for pickoffs. They need to try to pick off as many members as possible, try to even the odds and get more and assert more dominance as they get this control.
Yeah, speaking of asserting dominance here, Sync unfazed by what Soul can do. He is literally walking back and forth. He doesn't mind. He's got the health, and that's what EVOS can't seem to deal with right now. The amount of, even with true damage onto Sync, it feels like you're not really hurting him as much as you should.
I mean, let's be honest, like, who wants to be a dancing queen when you can ride on top of the back of a dragon, right?
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
But anyway, KTB doing his job, doing what he does best, constantly zoning around, giving information towards his team. And now Sync with the Oracle going to be regenerating even more. Oh my lord.
Yeah, this is now becoming a much more stale game here, as both sides at a point now they can't even consider item advantage to even be much of an advantage this time, because they all have full items. So there isn't much to be said, and they just have to maneuver these fights, making sure that they hit the most efficient ability here. Oh, wow.
My lord. He actually canceled it out.
Good cancel, but so far, it's a 2v3 situation, and right now, Jason is going to be down. Aeon finally getting his stun on the right targets, but he is under a lot of fire from Sync, who is just trampling on top of him here. KZP trying to pull them through. Revitalize. They're going to lose this. They're going to lose this. Harrow's going to have to pump the Salmon Force to try and turn this around. They finally take out Sync this time around. JPL, the next to go, but that means 3 members die for an opportunity for Resurgence to try and take Luminous Lord away, and they realize it isn't worth it anymore.
Dude, this is really great. Now pick up not just the tanker, but majority of the members of Resurgence as well. They can actually not only get this, like you said, getting this Lord, or they can actually just try to assert even more dominance. A lot of minions is being pushed onto his melee. The top is also being pushed down. Sadly, the bottom, because the minions will be more significantly better because since they lost the inhibitor. But that doesn't matter. All they need to do is get this Luminous Lord, and JPL is just doing just that. Try to zone as many members as much as possible. Or maybe they should just try to divert their attention, and instantly that's what they did. They changed their priorities. Lord's gonna be knocking it out. Sana trying to do as much damage as possible. LY4 instantly gets jumped on for the falling Starman from Soul. Instantly gets surrounded, but he's still able to get the crit off and picked off Soul.
This is worth it. This was worth it. LY4 dying there, able to trade 1-for-1 and denying Lord is a huge win for RSG. That was a 2v3 situation. They shouldn't have technically won that at all, and you can see that Aeon, he had to go and clear the waves up on top side. So as long as they keep delaying this with an open inhibitor for the side of EVOS SG, the longer it takes, the more likely that they will start have bigger creep waves moving in from that bottom side.
But they're going to be careful as well. LF is going to be coming out in exactly 20 seconds, and that's pretty much how long they can actually buy for themselves. Seeing thrown right into the mid as well, getting melted down instantly to revitalize. It's barely keeping it as well, but with the top for the corner dash, he's going to be able to get picked off. But we're talking about Jason here with the Darkening, instantly nukes down the majority of the members of EVOS SG, and now they're currently on the run. Pokemon gets popped up there. He still has the immortality, but he will eventually try to get away, and same goes for his teammate JPL.
Yeah, as long as Jason is alive, the team has a great opportunity, and especially with a secondary win condition, it becomes so much more difficult for EVOS to play this game because they're expecting Soul to survive all that damage. However, you can't necessarily itemize effectively, especially with the amount of high magic penetration coming in from...
Oh, no.
No, he's going for the steal! Can he go for it? Can he get the steal? No! Retribution is going to come into play. Soul is on the run now, but he is going to be giving up his life for nothing this time round. Holy Crystal being bought by Jason. JPL just left to defend. All 4 members from EVOS SG going to be coming back up. This is their final push coming in from RSG. Can EVOS SG defend?
Oh, this is going to be a really tough one as well. So this is going to be the Luminous Lord sent towards the bot lane. Now this is going to be pressuring EVOS so hard as well, because remember, the Crystal is not really that healthy. I'm pretty sure it's just 1 or 2 hits from the Lord away from just befalling here away from this team in this first game. But remember, sadly, unfortunately, I know Soul, he was trying to be the big man here, tried to be the team player and try to steal the Lord, but stealing the Lord without the Retribution and without the following Starman is definitely a really hard take to go for.
Yep, now that Lord has been crashing in, Luminous Lord, but if any, he is going to be cutting through. The fight has begun. Aeon's now in trouble. Is he going to get stunned up? Yes, he does, but they're going straight for the Crystal. Good end game coming in from RSG, but this is only the first in this best of 3. EVOS have another opportunity to even out the score.
Oh, it's a really tough one for them as well, but either way, like, it's such a tough game since they RSG went with a lineup where they're just able to sustain so much damage. But either way, we're going to be passing to our amazing analysis, LaFell, to talk about this amazing game.
Thanks, LaFell.
Thanks, LaFell.
Oh, yeah, that was a great analysis.
No,
that was...
no, it's not about the analysis. It's about the looks, you know. We see him, we get hype, and now we're embraced with the knowledge for analysis for what happened in that first game.
I feel like I already know what he was trying to say just by looking at him. He was just kind of going like that, and I was just like, yeah, totally, that makes sense. Like, it all adds up.
I mean, definitely all adds up as well, man. Seriously, it's a.
I mean, even the BM side, you just saw them. They're like, you know, doing their own sort of analysis on it.
I mean, no. Technically, it's still LaFell. So let's get to the analysis, people. And now let's talk about what happened in that first game. Seriously, LaFell, the game was very intense, especially since they, like RSG, let's be honest, with the lineup which they went, a lot of sustain, a lot of tanks, a lot of peels.
Yep.
Then there's literally no way, like, I get it that what EVOS SG was trying to go for, try to close out towards that between that early game or mid game, that would get that dominance. But once Resurgence starts sticking and start grouping up, things got a little bit too difficult for them.
Well, LaFell, I personally think that overall Barat has to be one of the biggest problems that they had to face, because it wasn't really to the suppression that was annoying. Yes, it was annoying at the end of things, especially for Aeon, because he kept on getting targeted every single time because he has some of the most impactful abilities in the late stages. A constant stun that can go up to 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds you can lock somebody down, and it deals a decent amount of damage as well. So in that problem, they had to take him out. But he has so much health, so many items, that literally 4 people, after getting ejected into 4 people, all of which are damage dealers, couldn't take him out on their first rotation of spells.
Dude, honestly, in that top lane, that one fight where LY4 and Sana was not in that fight at all, I just saw like our dear friend Sing's HP just constantly going back and forth.
Right?
Like that healing is ridiculous.
It's just, if you don't kill somebody within the first rotation of your spells, it is a legitimate problem.
Yeah.
Like, even Harith had to pop down the Xammen Force. He spent the entire Xammen Force, and then he realized he's still not dead yet. Eudora had used all her spells. Esmeralda's still auto-attacking her. There wasn't enough burst to get rid of Sing. And that's what's really annoying me.
I mean, like, that's the thing, right? So the real question is, besides banning Barat, of course, like, was it the lineup composition that could have been changed coming from the side here of EVOS SG? Because there were other heroes that were still in the pool and still up for grabs.
I would agree, but I'm not sure if we would get the same type of performance like I saw just now here. And I think that's the biggest question for me, is like, would carry have made a difference? Personally, I'm thinking yes, but also there's a side of me that's like, kind of no, considering that even if Harith can't seem to get through him, and Esmeralda's auto attacks basically feel like nothing, and Alas Insanity, not exactly the best.
I mean, honestly, I was still really... But either way, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough from us. Let's pass to the real LaFell. LaFell, take it away.
Hello, and thank you for our casters for giving me a little bit of more time, because I voted for RG to win, and then suddenly EVOS won, so I was so shocked I could not say anything. I was completely speechless. I cannot. But yes, guys, semua orang yang kat rumah, jangan lupa kita ada milestone, okay? Apa yang I baca tadi, kalau cukup 2 juta concurrent viewers, seorang akan mendapatkan kereta yang percuma. Jadi, kalau siapa yang nak kereta, pastikan ada 2 juta CCV. So, right now we will go to highlight yang dibawakan khas oleh Yudu. Kalau tengok apa yang terjadi dekat dalam game tadi, di sini kita akan pause and I akan bagi tahu macam mana boleh kena gang dekat sini. Okay, you guys tengok dia punya position kat sini. And macam mana team EVOS SG diorang tahu ialah awal-awal game dia menggunakan 2-2-1, 2 orang kat bawah, 2 orang dekat atas. Okay, and bila dah nampak vision dekat area bawah ini, kemudian dia dah lama tak nampak, for a few seconds, 10-15 seconds yang diorang tak nampak. So, daripada team EVOS SG, diorang boleh assume yang dia start ambil buff dekat sini sebab ini lebih dekat. Kemudian, tak nampak dekat bahagian mid, kemudian tak nampak dekat bahagian bottom. So, boleh assume yang dia punya pergerakan ataupun dia punya rotation daripada buff ni, dia terus gerak ke buff sini. So, bila dah ada level 4 daripada Harith, diorang cakap, okay, kita orang boleh pergi kepada blue buff. Kalau ada Lunox, kalau ada Yi Shin, either way kita orang boleh menang because kita orang tahu yang diorang ada level disadvantage and kita boleh dapatkan fight dekat situ. So kita akan teruskan klip dekat sini and ni menunjukkan di mana EVOS SG mereka ada good idea on macam mana nak main game ni. And sini pun kita akan pause kejap di mana rasanya ramai orang perasan Barats, kenapa Barats boleh kalah lane lawan dengan Xborg. Very simple. Xborg dia punya fire missiles, dia bila dah cukup dia punya panas, dia punya damage akan jadi true damage. So earlier on, walaupun dapat stack, tapi Barats bila dia HP bila dia punya armor tinggi, magic resist tinggi, still useless bila lawan dengan true damage. But the thing is, over in the game, kita boleh nampak yang Barats dah boleh start sustain lebih lama just because, yes, it's true damage. Tapi Barats dia boleh increase dia punya HP lebih tinggi. Kalau lawan dengan marksman yang guna Demand to Sword, maybe boleh bunuh Barats dengan jauh lebih cepat. But the thing is, just the early game sampai ke mid game, Pokemon boleh buat banyak damage kepada Sync. Sampai, in my opinion, maybe a little better kalau dia buat Blade of Despair. So we will continue this team fight over here. EVOS SG, because they have two mages, they have the early as well as the mid game advantage. But just like what our Malikaster said, Ikuto, where Resurgence, they have a lot of late game potential. They have a marksman, they have a Yi Shin, they have Lunox. And Lunox honestly is still pretty strong in the late game just because the more cooldown that you have, the more burst damage, or I would say the more penetration that you have as well. And because she doesn't accept the blue buff, she will most probably build a lot of cooldown items. And over here we can see that Resurgence, the thing that I like, even though they were down in kills, because we can pause over here as well, where okay, it doesn't matter. Pause as well. Where throughout the team fight, you guys can see that the goal difference never really changed that much. Even though the kills over at EVOS SG is just a lot, but over at Resurgence, it doesn't matter. They still managed to keep the gold. It doesn't get to a crazy amount, like 2,000, 3,000 gold difference, right? And it's because they know how to farm and they know how to split push, try to get different advantages on the map. But later on in the game, bila Barats dah jadi sangat-sangat keras, Lunox pun dah boleh keluarkan damage yang tinggi and also LY4 punya Yi Shin. Dia dapat jaga dia punya positioning dengan sangat-sangat bagus. Dia kite ke belakang, keluarkan damage bila-bila perlu, menunjukkan yang dia memang experience hyper carry ataupun core player di mana dia tahu I can go in and I can keluarkan damage. As well as kalau I stay jarak yang ni, diorang tak boleh keluarkan damage yang banyak dekat aku. Dekat sini LY4, HP solo tapi dia still boleh pergi ke depan untuk dapatkan the last hit, dapatkan double kill, menunjukkan that LY4 he still got it. In the team fight situation, dia still sangat-sangat kuat. EVOS SG at this point, diorang punya choke point, diorang tak boleh nak lakukan apa-apa sangat disebabkan diorang, yes, diorang ada banyak AoE damage. But it's not strong enough untuk jatuhkan Barats. And Sana, dia menggunakan tamus, kita tak nak lupakan dia juga. Dia banyak kali pergi ke depan, put a lot of pressure dekat diorang punya front line, forcing them pergi ke arah ke belakang, bagi banyak space kepada LY4 dengan Jason untuk keluarkan damage diorang. So, RSG, earlier on, diorang kalah dengan EVOS because EVOS matchup yang bagus lawan dengan Barat. Xbox lawan dengan Barat, Xbox Pokemon dapat bully dia awal-awal. And then diorang tahu pergerakan jungler diorang iaitu LY4, so dia cakap okay, we can go here, we can get a gang, kita boleh dapat advantage. And then Harif, level 4 advantage, Calamity, Reaper, Power Spike, it's all good, it's all great. Tapi sampai situ sahaja. Bila dah start masuk kepada late game, ikut draft pun kita boleh nampak Resurgence diorang menang. EVOS SG, kalau mereka ada banyak lagi crowd control, maybe there's more that they can do. And maybe juga kalau Pokemon dia siapkan damaging items, gantikan dia punya Ice Cream 1 kepada Blade of Despair, maybe a little bit better because dia boleh keluarkan banyak damage pada bahagian mid game juga. Now, looking at itemization, Pokemon, kita boleh nampak dia siapkan Immortality dahulu, kemudian Bloodless Axe, and then he finishes off with his Ice Queen 1 to make sure that whoever gets hit by the fire missiles, they will get slowed. I kind of prefer if he just goes on damage in this part of the game because he has a lot of advantage. He barely died, he had a lot of kills, he had a lot of assists. So just focus on the Blade of Despair, try to make sure that the mid game they continue to win. Make sure that they just keep on winning and snowball their lead, and then maybe they can take control of the jungle as well as the lanes to make sure that they can continually win the game, just like what TODAK did in the first game against RED Reborn. So I kind of disagree for them to use the Ice Cream 1 at this point of the time. Maybe better just focus all out on the damage. And RSG, we can see LY4, crazy damage. He even sold his boots at the end of the game. He only had one defensive item, which is the Athena Shield. The rest is all damage items. Blade of Despair, Wind Talker, Demand to Sword, Endless Battle. And it just go crazy because everyone tahu untuk EVOS SG and RG needed 2 lords to end the game. The rich guy, of course, will be given to LY4. No one will farm more than him. 649 gold per minute. The carry, Pokemon sebenarnya yang keluarkan damage paling tinggi dengan 132,000 damage. Sandbag, KZP, 224,000 damage received or absorbed. Forgotten One, Sana dengan 16 assist. Agak Forgotten One. Kita tak nampak dia buat banyak kill. Dia duduk kat front line semua 100%. RSG, the damage numbers. Memangnya paling tinggi akan diberikan pada Yisun Shin, 95,000 damage, almost 100,000. Kemudian dekat belakang dia adalah Lunos dengan 86,000. 60,000-ish untuk dua-dua offlaners, Barats dan juga Tamus. Untuk side EVOS SG, damage paling tinggi adalah X-Borg. Tetapi tak jauh daripada X-Borg adalah Harif dengan 117 damage. So, dua-dua ni, kita boleh nampak that the damage is very high. Tetapi, still tak boleh nak close the game out because diorang tak boleh nak keluarkan damage kepada Yisun Shin, which is the late game carry. Kalau diorang dapat bunuh Yisun Shin, I rasa diorang ada better chance to win the game. 6,000 damage untuk Eudora, and unfortunately, dekat dalam game ni, Esmeralda tak boleh buat banyak because dekat front line, Team RG is just way too strong dengan 64,000 damage saja yang boleh dikeluarkan. So, that is the post-game stats for both of these teams. Lepas ni, kita akan tengok MVP, which honestly, MVP ni I rasa boleh pergi kepada sesiapa. Jason played well, Sync yang menggunakan Barats also played really well, and of course, LY4. Resurgence, bila kita boleh debate pasal siapa dapat MVP, it just shows that collectively as a team, diorang main dengan jauh lebih bagus. But again, this is the first game. But now, we're gonna look at the MVP of the game. I'm gonna slim down a bit. And we can see that LY4 managing to get the MVP, 10-3-5. Very nice kitty, 24% team goal earned, 3,972 damage per minute, almost 4,000. Could be one of the highest damage per minute of the season, of the playoffs, but hey, this is just the first day. We can see the itemization, full on damage, no need boots, who needs movement speed when you have Wind Talker to give your movement speed. Blade of Despair, Endless Battle, Dementor Sword as well. Kalau nak sustain a bit sikit in terms of magic damage, they have the Tina Shield, but that's just because dekat bahagian EVOS SG banyak sangat magic damage. So yeah, just pick a Tina Shield instead of buat Queen's Wings because it's just focused more on making sure that you don't die from magic damage. But hey, that's it for the MVP. Guys, jangan lupa milestone goals. Bila kita hit 3 juta viewers, kita akan dapat kereta. Semua orang akan dapat kereta. So, macam mana pun, we will pass it back to our casters, to our host in the quickie. So, guys, make sure you guys can receive. I'm gonna give it away.
Thank you so much, LaFell, for such a very in-depth analysis of both of that games. Because let's be honest, in that game, a lot of things happened.
Yeah.
A lot of things is happening. Like, for some people, like, seriously, if you guys are watching the game and just think like, oh, you know, they're just clashing, they're going back and forth, more positioning-wise. It's like, no, everything's calculated. Everything was, you can definitely tell, very clean communication coming from both sides of this team here. Once it's defended LY4, EVOS says all dives onto LY4. There's like both physical games and mind warfare happening inside this game, and I think that's absolutely insane.
I think so as well. I think it was a pretty chaotic. It looked pretty chaotic, especially when the fights. Yeah, it's very hard to keep up with what's going on because there's so many abilities kind of just being thrown at each other. So at a certain point, all you're going to be seeing, especially if I was one of the players, is just like lights flashing and then just portraits where I'm like trying to hopefully land my abilities.
I mean, that's the beauty of a Barad, right? You don't have to worry because all you have to do is just look down, see your HP bar, and be like, okay, I'm still alive.
So I guess that, yeah.
I think that's the like LaFell says. Well, besides the fact that not LY5. I don't know why I started thinking about LY4. RSG's lineup has a better late game, right? No, it's just more of the fact that not besides the late game potential, it's the fact that they can just entirely sustain the amount of damage going to be output compared to the side here of EVOS SG, because let's be honest, they have a Hari, they have an Export, they have a Eudora, but it can only go so far when remember they're all magic skills, right?
Yeah.
So once those skill goes on cooldown, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's all they can do here.
Well, I mean, the scaling has definitely been changed for a lot of these situations, and itemization is becoming, easier.
Correct.
It becomes a little bit more difficult to itemize, especially when you're up against a team that doesn't necessarily have the greatest of physical damage.
Right.
Because EVOS SG, they had either true damage or magic damage. True damage, you can't really defend against that, so it's like whatever. So at that
Yes.
point, it's just how many magic defense items, magic resist items could you stack on yourself to protect yourself from Eudora, making sure you don't die at Harith, more importantly.
Yeah.
Esmeralda, who also kind of does true damage on top of the fact that she does magic damage as well. So it's like, it's easy to itemize against EVOS' composition, even though, yes, it was a pretty nasty composition the moment they start getting, the holy crystals, they start bringing out the
correct.
glaives as well, and it's like, ah.
Yeah, but sadly they weren't able to close on that mid game, which was pretty much the last opening, the last bastion which they had for themselves before the game gets a little bit out of their hands here.
Well, I will make the argument that Resurgence was very dependent on making sure that either Jason or LY4 would survive the entirety of the fight. Because that was basically the crux of the composition. If they lost those two, they basically don't have to necessarily fight the waves at all. Like, you don't really want to fight against Barat in most situations, and they did, and that was kind of what was irking me here.
Yeah, but then again, we're talking about like, if we're comparing between both lineups, we're talking about like 5 cores on the side here of RSG. Like, everyone is a threat here. Like, okay, like, let's be honest. Like, normally
Maxia was a threat. I felt like it was.
Sorry. Let me cut it down. 4.
Oh,
4, not 5. 4. Okay. Baxia was KGB was annoying, giving vision. That's all right.
Okay.
But 4, we got Barat, sustaining, doing insane amount of damage. Thamos, I wouldn't say as insane compared to the Barat, but still there to melt down any squishy heroes and control like Harvard as well with the Cyclone Molten Sights. And then we have Jason, hands down, I don't even need to say anything about it with the Lunox. The game literally end up bursting everyone else. And LY4, also nothing else to be said about that.
Yeah, and at that point, it's just, what can you really do? It's you hit that point in the late game where you can't necessarily win unless you're taking out the carries first, and that I think that's how the late game was basically going for the majority part of the game. And it's just that Barat just kept getting into the way, and I don't know why exactly. How exactly they were doing it, but I guess the timing of certain things, like for an example, Jawhead either has 2 options: either shove the Barat away as far away as possible and put him out of position so that he can take out, because Aeon's problem was the fact that he kept getting disrupted. He couldn't get into range of the big 2 that he needed to take out. He just needed to stun them 1 time, and I think the fight would have been over.
No, it's really difficult. No, okay, I wouldn't say difficult for him. It's relatively easy for him with the Unstoppable Force, but remember, he's going in alone. You know, that kind of thing. His team is not going to be able to back him up, even if he was able to get on top of LY4. Remember, LY4 still can dash away, but he cannot escape from the Unstoppable Force targeting. But he's still going to be very far from the team, and that's pretty much when Aeon just tells himself, like, I'm not going to just dive alone. I need to be able to, even if I want to dive, I need to ensure that my team is there to at least follow up with me, because if not, there's no point in it.
Yeah, I guess in that sense. It's honestly, like, if we could really do like a in-depth VOD breakdown of it, that would be really, really nice. But honestly, that game alone, ooh, it's intense, but what are you expecting for, like, games, the upcoming game, especially for EVOS side? Are they going to be looking to redraft themselves, or was the draft absolutely fine? It's just that the game plan didn't go exactly how they wanted it to.
I think it's probably just didn't exactly go how they really wanted to as well, because Resurgence just totally understand the fact that, like, we're better late game. We just need to turtle out. We can lose 1 or 2 members. That's pretty much why we saw the kill score, right? 3-11. 3-11. That's like not to say, like, of course it didn't do anything to the goal lead. It's pretty much very even out.
Yeah.
But the fact that Resurgence just noticed the fact, like, all right, they're picking us off 1 by 1 with this Jawhead pickup, with this constantly catching us off. Let's just leave 1 member. If you get caught, then you get caught. As long as LY4 and Jason, the rest of the team, farms up. Pretty much farm. You see the rest of the team, they're not really, like, grouping up too much. They're always ensuring, like, we're farming, we're jungling, we're getting objectives, we're always securing, or at least even if we were to start a fight, we ensure at least 1 lane is being pushed in. You know, that kind of thing. There's always like there's always a trade. But it's really tough to say in the end, like.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a tough trade to be there, but I'd say, like, if they played this game again, I think you could get potentially different results. I can't necessarily say that it was as clear cut as most people are probably thinking about it, because there's just so many factors that come into play.
And even the best part about it is that even if EVOS, like, totally dominated the early game, not necessarily they will be able to close things out here.
I think they would have if they totally dominated the early game.
Okay, maybe not like insanely dominated.
Okay. How much of a domination? 5k gold lead? 6k gold lead?
5K, yes.
5K would have been enough, yeah. Because, I mean, Resurgence was doing that much with just 5K alone. So I think it goes either or. And I think, you know, the situation at the time, all right, sure, they got put in it. They got to forget about it as they move on into Game 2.
Yeah.
I think that they might want to consider changing up the draft, mainly just getting rid of Barat and forcing out either a Yusong or even a Kali, because those are a lot more manageable in comparison to something that just, I'm not really juking anything. I'm kind of just, like, absorbing it all.
No, that's the thing, like, we just need to figure out, like, what was the priorities here. I guess in this case, in this game in particular, this first game, EVOS didn't seem like to come to the game with a priority, like, okay, we need to have this pick or anything. They came to a game with a composition which they thought we could try to close things out, but just forgot about the existence of the fact that, alright, there's a lot of sustain, there's a lot of late game, there's a lot of scaling heroes on the side here of RSG.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue that. It really was a lot. But then comes the question, like, the relevancy of JPL's Jawhead, because it really starts to fall off the moment, like, oh, we hit the late game, I'm just the CC bot and I'm looking to just tank as much damage as I possibly can, but you can't necessarily do that either because of the itemization coming in from RSG. So I personally think that the moment you do pick Jawhead, your objective is to be oppressive and look to play for picks and win the game prior to that late game status. Because if not, Jawhead isn't going to be able to help you, unlike a Selena who still can one-shot you as long as you get hit by the arrow or step on a trap.
Oh yes, that's actually really painful too. So in other words, we're both concluding that the fact that the drafting could have been better, or?
I'm concluding that given the different circumstance, somebody else might have won that game. However, for this upcoming one, I do think they're going to change up the draft for the side of EVOS.
Definitely, sure. But, I mean, of course, we both can agree that they need to first ban Barat, regardless of who.
I mean, if you're on red side, you just have to. Yeah. It's a given. No one is ever going to let that through, and I think this is a good example of why.
You never know mind games, right? It's just suddenly like...
It's like mind games. What? You're gonna give me the detonation button and the nuke at the same time, and you're just expecting me not to use it to dominate my enemies? Of course. Shift in tempo in terms, not even shift in tempo, but the shift of personalities coming in from both EVOS and Resurgence, where Resurgence looking to kind of play the slower game in comparison to EVOS, who are taking away the picks. The LY4 initially, you know, LY4's a Yishin Shin is completely off the table. They also took the Lunox's way, forcing Resurgence to play a different style of game.
Definitely for sure. And now Jason bringing in his Chang'e, definitely a hero which we never miss seeing. But now we're entering the second ban phase. You know, what do they want to get rid of? Is they getting one of the strongest side lane? This is getting rid of the Khalid. I'm looking on the side here of EVOS SG here. They're not to say they're lacking a mage. They already have the Lunox. Wouldn't be surprised if they want to bring up a double one. But right now in this case, they need someone to follow up with them or prepare themselves to counter against a potential assassin pickup here. Yes, Resurgence can still go for a marksman, but when it's up to them or not, we'll have to see for their next first pick.
Yep, they get rid of Alice for the side of Resurgence, and on EVOS' side, they decide to get rid of Boxia. Kind of interesting, because Alice, we've seen her a couple of times, and yes, there have been changes. However, against a composition like this, it would sort of make sense. It's relatively squishy from the side of EVOS SG. Resurgence, they've shown up two people who naturally are going to be a lot tankier than your average hero. EVOS, they ban out the lane, finally the Ruby is going to be locked in.
Oh man, I was about to say, like, they could have used a really great Ruby on their side here as well, but then again, Cho is still open into the pool if they really want to opt for it, but there is the existence of both Chang'e and Ruby that will literally punish the Cho as well, or even the Joy in this case if they really want to get and try to catch any of their backlines here.
I mean, it's kind of annoying, of course, but what can you really do about it at this point? Do they want to even consider getting a tank? Yeah, no, they go for the Thomas and as well as the Valeria. They are just going all out damage. They're expecting Resurgence to be the ones making the move, and EVOS, they just have to play their own game.
Now, the real question is this. Does Forza want to go for his assassin, or does he want to go for the marksman here?
What assassins do you have access to? Hayabusa, Lancelot,
Helcurt? No, right?
Helcurt is doable. It's just kind of awkward if you play Helcurt.
It's just weird, right?
Yeah, it's difficult because Lunox is difficult to catch. The moment she goes into Brilliance, you can't do anything. Valeer, you really have to catch Valeer off guard, get the silence first, and maybe you can one-shot him. If not, he's just going to push you away. Thamos, a huge no-no. You don't want to go into that matchup. Even the Jawhead, arguably, you don't want to get ejected away. So I don't know. I would say Lancelot more than anything else. Oh, no! They're saying no. They're dedicating all their resources into the Chang'e as well as the Esmeralda.
So it's going to be, it's going to be a core. I mean, it's definitely going to be a core Esmeralda, but it's like literally it's Forza will be playing the Esmeralda, and let's be honest, KTB with the Tigreal, that blue buff is not going to have fun.
Yeah,
Not gonna have fun.
I'm not entirely sure how they're going to deal with this, but my guess is that they're going to have either JPL take smart missiles first instead of ejector.
I mean, there's a lot of options they can go for here, right? They can either try to go for the counterplay here, or just pretty much just like use ejector, just toss Tigreal away, and hopefully they can just shred that blue without the assist of the smart missile before Tigreal or KZP can come and push it away with the Sacred Hammer. We'll just have to see, I guess.
Yeah, no, because the timing is important. The timing of when they use their abilities is super, super important, and which buff and which side of the map they start on, and which buff they want to take. So I guess it's a bit of a gamble on both sides to either defend themselves or kind of delay time. But we're going into game. It's game 2 between RSG versus EVOS SG.
Woo, man, this is going to be a really exciting fight as well, because this fight will dictate whether RSG will close this game with 2-0 or EVOS making that beautiful comeback here, trying to go towards game number 3. And hopefully LY4 will be fully equipped with that bit buff he's looking for.
Yeah, but you can see EVOS is playing 1-3-1 as of right now, playing it slow, not looking to do any of their buffs in fear that they will get,
pushed away.
So it's better to get your members up to level 2 at the very least, because look at KZP. He's just chilling there, and he can't really do anything. He's not giving off any pressure for his team. And since they started the buff slate, really smart idea, but look at Fossa getting absolutely destroyed there by Soul. Even with the help of Sana, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Now here got the rotation coming for the rest of the team as well. We see the rest of EVOS actually getting ready to jump on top of them should the opportunity does arise. And most importantly, I love the fact that EVOS actually already read the moment and the fact that, alright, KZP with Tigreal, we know his playstyle, we know his habits. Let's not do the boss. Let's just go and get that first wave. That's going to be forcing KZP to be delayed in hitting that level 2 here compared to the rest of the team.
Yeah, and KZP is trying to just line this up so that he can get a good push onto Pokemon, but JPL decides to come back in. Somebody's going to get ejected here, and it looks like it's going to be nobody.
but then again, Forza will be able to steal the red away.
No! Not like this.
Oh man, it is like this, my friend. And JPL ejector KZP, but gotta be careful because he doesn't want to be pulled all the way back. But still, at the same time, really well played coming for stealing that red buff away. That really slowed things down here.
Yeah, I mean, Sol is doing a really good job. Even though he did start off level 1 pretty roughly in a 2v1 situation, he managed to get a kill back for himself and deny a red buff. So I think it's just wins all around.
Definitely for sure. But anyway, Sing gonna be a little bit careful there. Quite the amount of pressure that Pokemon's currently throwing at him, and instantly, casually as well, gonna be slaying him away. But not to say the same for towards his blue buff on the side here. Resurgence, blue side as well. Forza's gonna be able to secure it with the retribution, but that is gonna be forcing the rest of the team to fall back.
Yeah, once again, teams, it's not looking too good for Resurgence here. EVOS have a demanding lead so early on into this game. Resurgence, can they catch up from this? Because it only took 5k for Resurgence to beat EVOS in pretty much every single one of these team fights, even though they were difficult. However, I don't know if the same would apply this early on into the game.
Ooh, but anyway, JP gonna be able to toss KTB all the way to the back line. He still has Sacred Hammer, so he's gonna be able to back away. Aeon applying a lot of pressure and harass with his Fireball and Searing Torrent. Soul, on the other hand, was able to force Sana to go all the way back. Remember, this is Thanos, one of the best sideliners as well. You cannot underestimate this hero.
Yeah, once again, Turtle will be going over to EVOS SG side as they keep control over the top side and the river. However, looking down onto the bottom, RSG looking to get some moves onto Pokemon here. It's kind of tough with the Darkening. He's walked up way too far. Aeon trying to get in between them, misses both fireballs this time. Unstoppable force. Fossa gets pushed backwards. Searing Torrent for the win. Doesn't connect as well. Brilliance coming on through once again from Pokemon, getting a double kill off of that. KZP looking with the implosion, but it ain't gonna be enough.
Oh man, that was really close as well. It was a good implosion as well, but sadly there was no fallout for it. And Aeon leaving that fight with a lot of satisfaction, drops down his own personal emotes, and just to try to mind game the enemy.
Oh, what a good fight that was. Just overall. And now Soul, he has complete control over this top side of the map because of what Resurgence, how many resources they dedicated down on bot side. They continue with the Monster Chakra as well. Oh my god! Oh my goodness, he is just god! Where did Uranus go?
Oh man, oh he went back to space, bro. Come on, he went back to his own planet. Uranus.
He completely destroyed Uranus there. Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that kind of damage.
Oh man, but then again, it is a Lunox, so it's a lot of damage. But anyway, Aeon getting ready to re-assist to go towards his team because bringing out this mid-tier 1 tower will open up the map and allow EVOS SG to really assert even more dominance towards the side here of Resurgence here.
Yep. Once again, it's things have kind of slowed down, and you know, Soul is having the time of his life. Sync cannot deal with this. Soul is too strong, and he has red buff as well. So I don't know how he's going to survive this. He's even popped his consecration in hopes that he gets away. He's still regenerating. Soul can still leap on him. Once he gets the molten sights, he wins. And yeah, that's going to be the solo kill. Looking on to the other side of the map, Resurgence once again getting pushed back in their own jungle. EVOS is just such a threat right now.
As long as EVOS SG already increase and continue asserting this dominance, and EVOS SG might just be able to turn things around because they're currently in the lead by about 8,000 gold here.
Yep, JPL going pretty deep into the backside here. RSG continuing to just hover around between their tier 1 and tier 2 turrets, but they are losing on the other aspects of the map. The gold, not in their favor. Turtles, can't even think about touching them.
Definitely for sure, and I believe this is going to be their second turtles that's going to be secure on the side of EVOS SG. Towers, 3 in their favor too, and JPL casually just waiting. He's just waiting for a beautiful opportunity as well. He has a flicker too, but he wants to ensure that flicker is going to be committed for the very right moment as well. But thank God Jason is playing the chunk inside this game, really slowed things down for EVOS SG as he was able to clear out the minions wave with the meteor shower from a safe distance.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's a really good observation because I completely forgot about that. Well, the rest of the team is looking to push on. Oh wait, hold on. Top side, RSG once again. Fossa being taken out. He is just struggling to find his footing in this game.
Oh man, but either way, Sana still in the game. He's also a really great initiator, by the way, but it's just really hard for him to initiate onto the fact that his team doesn't really have enough damage or even sustain to deal with all the damage that's coming up from EVOS SG, who is not only level advantage, but items as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one because now they're gonna get greedy with this. Once you hit AK, you can see the glowing wands, immortalities coming out of JPL and Aeon itself. Rest of EVOS are just waiting, buying time until they take all the neutral objectives. They know they're ahead, and they know for a fact Resurgence ain't gonna walk up. No, not again. Looks like he made it out this time. Meteor shower coming through to clear the way, but that mountain shocker is so painful.
Oh man, but honestly, this is the first time I see Lunox just constantly forcing a Uranus out of the lane multiple times. This is really, really shocking to me. But then again, I feel happy because I never liked Uranus. I know you're happy about this too.
Yeah, somewhat. Somewhat. I can't say I am the happiest of all time, but I can definitely say I'm just kind of happy.
By the way, JPL is going to be able to give quite a amount of information towards his team. Don't forget, with the Mountain Shocker as well, EVOS SG pretty much have all the Vision Warfare in their hand and currently in the lead with it as well. Now all that's left is just a beautiful initiation. Sin going to be tossed all the way back, but he has his Transcendent Ward, but the Searing Torment is going to keep him in his place for a couple of seconds. But with the Consecration, he's going to be able to regen back really quickly.
Yeah, he's not too entirely worried about this. Potato has been happily farming. Happy Camper just farming all the way. He's level 13 to literally nobody else who can contest him. Arguably Soul, but even then, he's still 2 levels ahead of him.
He's too far behind, but once again, the lead gets even more bigger as well as the Unstoppable Force followed by the Ejector is going to be allowing Soul to easily get his killing spree as he melts down Sana. And now all that's left is just 2 members currently in the mid lane trying to defend this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, these 2 last members coming in from RSG don't stand a chance. They're getting completely zoned out from their tier 2. They need to buy some time, and that's where Sync comes in. He's down on the bottom side. He knows for a fact he could die, and used the Consecration kind of early there, but he didn't get punished for it, so that's fine. Pokemon, as well as Ishin also trying to turn to get this free kill onto Sync.
Here comes Sig, gets surrounded by Pokemon right next to his wall. He's going to hold out as long as possible. Pops down the Transcendent Ward, but not good enough in the face of Potato with those crits.
Yeah, it's just a tough situation. Falling Star Moon comes in. Can they get the implosion? They get the initial knockup, and there's the implosion, but he is still sustaining through all 3 members. His ultimate is just spell vamping all of them.
Oh man, the Festival of Blood really making quick word about it as well. So But just love the fact that he actually just sustained that 1v3 and able to pick out one member out of it. That's absolutely crazy. And the best part about it, it was Jason, and Jason was needed to clear all these minion waves. So there's no way for Resurgence to literally defend from the onslaught or even the aggression coming out from EVOS SG currently.
Yeah. This is not looking the greatest of situations, but RSG once again, Pokemon, he's in trouble, but he's able to get some of that Brilliance up to get the heal, as well as the Darkness. He quickly pops that Brilliance just in time. What a fight, and what a statement they are trying to make here for the side of EVOS SG. They still have a couple of minions, and that is going to be Game 2. What a absolute banger of a game.
Dude, that was... Everyone's happy, everyone's high-fiving, literally calling each other out, saying like, great job guys, we did a really great job. But either way, we're going to be passing to our analysis LaFell to tell us exactly what happened.
Okay, langsung tak mati. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty clean. And untuk semua orang yang tengok Malay punya cast, korang mungkin akan sedikit confused. Sebab kadang-kadang nampak muka saya dekat casting table. I tahu, mungkin ramai orang confused, tapi itu sebenarnya bukan saya. That's actually not me, and I can understand the confusion because suara kita orang lebih kurang sama, but seriously, it's not me. So bila diorang cakap 2-1, it's not me. Diorang yang cakap. So you have them to blame, not me. Anyways, kita akan tengok highlight yang dibahas oleh Yudu to see what really happened in the game. And overall dekat sini, all I can say is that EVOS SG, they won every lane. Soul punya lane, dorang menang. Pokemon punya lane, dorang menang. And the thing is, Resurgence, they took the fights that they did not have to take, right? Like, for example, KZP, he wasted so much time waiting in the bush, trying to see what EVOS SG want to do when he didn't help his own team. So, it's more or less, Resurgence, they misplayed a lot of things that they wanted to do, and they're like, okay, I kalau pergi ke depan, I mungkin boleh menang ni. As we can see, Sync berapa kali cuba nak 1v2, and it didn't really work out. Disebabkan Lunox, she is really strong. I tak tahu kalau sesiapa lupa, tapi Lunox sebenarnya sangat-sangat kuat. Especially once dia dah hit level 4, dia punya Darkening, it costs a lot of damage. Apa-apa cooldown yang you letak on Lunox, dia akan tukar menjadi penetration. That's strong enough already. Lepas tu bila dah ada Necklace of Durance, apa lagi yang Ruinous boleh buat? And dekat bahagian top lane, 1v2, Soul menang. So, I would say that EVOS SG, mechanically, they stepped up, okay? Atas menang, tengah menang, bawah menang, semua menang. So it's just a basic, it's just a basic example of what will happen kalau you drop semua lane you kalah. Kita tengok itemization. And apa yang kita kena tengok? 19-0. And look at the effect of that is kita tengok JPL selaku tank 007, dia sempat siapkan Athena Shield. Okay, one item. In comparison, kita tengok KZP pun dapat siapkan satu item. Now kita tengok Potato, dua item, Blade of Despair dan juga Endless Battle. Over Forza boleh dikatakan sebagai their carry, right? Hanya satu item saja dia siapkan dia punya Calamity Reaper. And kalau nak kirakan dia punya jungle item sebagai item, Potato pun dah siapkan dia punya jungle item. Pokemon dah siapkan 3 item. And overall, kita tengok Jason only siapkan dia punya Glowing Wand. This is the disparity. How can you come back when you punya items is very low and when you punya level pun very low? And this is a situation where EVOS SG is seriously flexing on RSG. EVOS SG, RSG, so many SG. Anyways, EVOS beat RSG. Simple fact, they won every single lane. Soul conquered his lane. Pokemon conquered his lane. And Potato, atas, bawah, everywhere team fight dia akan ada. So that is it for the itemization. We will look at the post-game stats untuk nampak the damage yang dikeluarkan oleh kedua-dua team dekat sini. Goal difference, wow. KDA 19-0-29, RSG 0-19-0 gold. 34,000, RSG 18,000. 9 tower, tak wujud pun 19 tower. 9 tower untuk EVOS and 0 untuk RSG, and of course no Lord was involved in this game. Rich Guy akan diberikan kepada Potato 917 gold per minute. The carry Pokemon 50,000 damage. Sandbag Sync terima paling banyak damage dengan 79,000 damage yang dia absorb. Forgotten One JPL dengan 7 assist sahaja. Tengok damage numbers RSG. Tak ada seorang pun lebih 20,000. Yang paling tinggi adalah Esmeralda dengan 16,000. Now kita tengok dekat bahagian EVOS SG. 50,000 untuk Lunox, 40,000 untuk Yi Senshin, and 30,000 untuk kita punya Tamus. Very big damage difference dekat sini. Valer as the mid support-ish kind of hero 17,000 sahaja, tapi lebih tinggi daripada Esmeralda yang 16,000. So overall dekat sini, EVOS, the first game, diorang baca map dengan bagus, but the draft did not really help them out. RSG, kind of in the same situation where dekat dalam game ni, the draft was really all over the place. They look really strong kalau dalam team fight situation. Tapi untuk team fight tu be effective, diorang kena menang diorang punya lane, dapatkan sedikit berapa objektif, kemudian diorang boleh scale into the team fight phase of the game. If you don't even masuk the team fight punya phase, then it's going to be very difficult. So, sekarang kita akan tengok MVP of the game, which I rasa can go to anyone dekat bahagian EVOS SG. Tapi nampak agaknya Pokemon with Lunox. 22% team goal earn and 5,026 damage per minute. Antara the highest damage per minute yang boleh dikeluarkan. And it happened here dekat playoff. 507 match KDA because no one from EVOS SG died in that game. Itemization, dia siapkan dia punya Clock of Destiny, tetapi dia tak combokan dengan Lightning Transsion. Dia nak go terus kepada penetration dengan Divine Glaive and of course Nicholas Endurance untuk pastikan tak ada sesiapa yang boleh heal. So even as a damager, dia still ada the discipline untuk cakap, I need to make sure tak ada sesiapa boleh heal dekat side sebelah. So congratulations kepada EVOS SG as well as Pokemon. Honestly, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Kita boleh tengok diorang punya performance. But either way, that is the second game. Kita akan terus masuk kepada game ketiga. Selepas ini, we'll be going to the third game series of the day. And it's going to be against the two strongest Singaporean teams, Resurgence and EVOS SG. Whoever is going to win is totally up in the air. I tak nak predict. Although, to be fair, I predict RSG, so maybe it was not, I don't know. Anyways, we will go back to the English casters as well as the host in the quickie. So guys, get ready. I'm gonna give it to you guys. And please talk about what will happen in the next game. Guys, take
Thank you so much, LaFell, for such an amazing in-depth analysis of game number 2 between both of the Singaporean Titans, Resurgence and EVOS SG.
Yeah, I mean, that game, EVOS really show what they had in store, and that's good because now it's one more game to determine who is going to be moving on and who's going to be knocked down to the lower brackets.
I mean, definitely for sure. And then definitely when we see from both of the drafting as well, right, we can definitely tell like a clear difference of what they were trying to go for.
Yes.
So EVOS still sticking to what they wanted to previously want to try to go for the game from game number 1. The only difference was a swap out of heroes where at least they have that reaction of both damage and even that late game should drag that long as well. And on the side here, Resurgence is full team fight oriented, but then again, they, like Raphael said as well, they have to win the fights, they have to win their own personal lanes, because at least that way, when should a fight actually comes down, they will be able to take that fight head on.
And that's where I think, you know, where EVOS really flexed on them, because those small lane mistakes really start to add up. But let's look at the current audience predictions for both sides. Ooh, 1%. Yeah, I can't remember what the previous one was.
80-20.
It was 80-20, so it's 1% difference. So 79 to 21.
Just from one game. So that means how many games does EVOS has to win just to keep at least like a 50-50 margin?
I don't know. I thought people were a little bit more going to be dedicated to EVOS, and I wasn't expecting like such a big skew to begin with at the beginning of the day when we did see the 80% to 20%. But yeah, interesting to see. Very interesting to see.
It's really good to see that at least there is some changes, you know. Even if it's just one, but it's still something.
I mean, you know, 1% of a million people is still a good amount of people. If you're looking at it that way, there's, you know, silver lining to everything. But besides that, coming into the specific game 3 here, that's what's really getting me tingled here, because I can't figure out where do they go from here for the other side of RSG, because again, it was a lot of individual mistakes that ended up in this situation.
Right.
And those things stacked on one top of another, and EVOS just comes out with a perfect game.
I mean, definitely for sure. Then I guess it just comes down, especially both of these teams, because both of these teams has, after witnessing the first 2 games as well, they have a very similar aggression, right? Whether depending on what they're going to, depending on what kind of heroes they actually went for their own personal lineup composition, they play by it. Like for example, you see JPL for 2 games picking the Jawhead, after witnessing playing that first game, second game, they adapted. They figure out like, all right, Jawhead can't go in alone. We need a secondary damage dealer, or at least someone that can at least catch up with the Jawhead, fall out with the amount of damage, but at the same time, dominate the lanes for themselves here.
All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. That would be about right. I don't know. I think if, like, let's put ourselves into their shoes.
All
yes,
right.
they are dominating that lane, but how do you play this from RSG's side? When yes, they are going to continue. They're going to continue their outstream, but at a certain point, you have to kind of predetermine yourself to say, hey, we need to either fight back or take a 50-50 at some point, because you can't just kind of leave it at this particular situation.
I mean, it's really difficult for them as well, because like the only thing that comes to mind for them is that, especially with the kind of lineup composition they went for as well, they tell themselves, we just need to farm. We can't really take a fight, especially since we didn't really win our lanes. We just need to keep farming and farming. But if they're farming, the Yisu Shin is also farming. So it's pretty much like they're in a really, it's a really hard situation where they just tell themselves like, we can't bring late game because they have a both Lunox and a Yisu Shin. And even if we get really big, we have to catch the Yisu Shin. But even if we catch the Yisu Shin, there are still Pokemon with the Lunox. So it's a really rough one for them. Like if I were to put myself in their shoes, that's just pretty much how I'm feeling. Like, I'm like, it's a really hard thing to go for here.
Well, I mean, the next best thing they can do is just change up the draft next time, kind of.
I mean, yeah, like
style
game 3, yes.
Yeah, for game 3 especially, just to kind of like even out the playing field. I suppose. I mean, they still have to worry about individual mistakes at the end of the day, but you know, I think more importantly, it's just the composition that they compositions where they have to really deal with each other a lot better. Something that with a little bit more counter matchups, because this one was just. I mean, I can't even say whether the counter matchups were even in like a big factor, because I felt like even if it was favorable towards RSG, these mistakes are kind of inexcusable.
I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say really like, okay, yes, there are some careless mistakes that RSG didn't make inside the game here, but I think it's just the fact that EVOS just totally understanding the fact that, alright, we are really great engagers, we are really great at picking out players, and most importantly, we just realized the fact that these guys need to be dominating the lanes, these guys need to farm a lot. Let's just constantly just pick up them one by one, regardless of whether we are losing out in levels or EXP. We still just go for it and just pick them out, and that's pretty much where like fights or skirmishes starts happening all across the maps, and that's when researchers just start realizing like we shouldn't be taking this fight, but we are taking this fight. So it's why are we doing this?
What's happening? What's going on? Am I different in a different dimension?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get where you're coming from, but I really hope that they do decide to draft for early, because I think that's where these two teams are really starting to try and take advantage of each other. And I think, you know, other teams who like to play defensively and don't mind playing that extremely dragged style of gameplay, that yes, it can work. It's not like it's an unviable strategy. It's just really uninteractive for the most part. It's just continuous farming, looking to get small advantages.
It's an LY4 thing.
Yeah. I wouldn't even necessarily say that. I just think that if you are dedicated to playing to the late game, you will lose the mid. And you lose the mid game, it's basically over. There is no difference.
That's why I'm pretty much I'm liking what EVOS actually went inside this game too, right? You pretty much have that mid game, you have that early game aggression with the Jawhead, you have that mid game with the Lunox, and towards that late game, you already have like that reassurance with that Yisu Shin, which, by the way, Potato did an amazing job just
farming
up.
He did.
Level 13. That was like he was literally like
living life.
Dude, he was like 5 to 7 levels ahead of the rest of the team here.
It's just simply the best. And he was having, he was really having the time of his life here, and I think they can't let that happen again. I think they need something that really comes up with a composition that really goes head to head against against, you know, EVOS, if they don't want to be put in that situation where one mistake could really be catastrophic.
That's why I was about to bring up with you as well, like before you mentioned as well. During this game through this next draft thing, they need to go with a mindset where like we need to be able to contest. Like if we are willing to give the Jawhead, we need to be able to pick a playmaker for ourselves to at least contend against this Jawhead. Whether it be like counter engagements, or just be able to be even more aggressive like a Cho or Valera for themselves.
We haven't seen Cho in a while, have we?
That's why I'm so surprised. I'm like, hey, you know, you had an option to go for Cho, both sides by the way, but they didn't really opt to go for it. So I'm like, is there like a composition that I'm missing, or that we are both missing out here?
I mean, it's just a high priority on these mages so far, and I think that, you know, that's the big deal for a lot of these teams.
Maybe too many mages?
I wouldn't say too many mages, because again, a lot of this can be, you know, traced back to different inspirations coming up from different MPLs, where they have these different it fits their style a little bit more. As we know in the Philippines, they really like to be up in your face, so compositions that are early and plays the style of which, yeah, I can 1v2 at level 1, sure, why not? Things like that. Like, if people make simple mistakes, it's not going to fly there, and neither is it going to fly here. So it's great inspiration, and I think, I personally believe that, you know, the early game really does kind of set the tone and pace. There's a lot of teams that might not necessarily scale. However, simple tweaks in the composition can really make sure that you're a jack of all trades and you can still go into the late game.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll bring up the drafting for game number 3 here between EVOS SG and Resurgence, where it will decide who will be going towards the semifinals and who is going to be going towards that lower bracket here. And EVOS SG, once again, starting on the blue side, they have first pick and first ban, and starting with the very same ban which they have been doing for all 3 games, it will be the Natalia.
Natalia in as well as the Farsa this time. Nothing too nothing too different, nothing out of the ordinary. Resurgence going to be banning out the Selena here. Next is going to be Barat. Okay, yup, alright.
Standard.
Checking the boxes. Now, what is it going to be for the side of EVOS SG? Is it going to still, is it still going to be the Black Dragon himself, or is it going to be something else?
I think they will still go for the Yutong ban here, because there's no real reason as well. Because noticing the fact that it's still going to be for Sana LY4, so I'm pretty sure they're still.
What's the difference? Sana is going to be the one playing it.
Yeah, I know exactly, right. So it's just pretty much like, all right, okay. So this time the only difference this time is they're going to be banning out the Esmeralda for themselves. Does that mean they're going to be updating the game for the Yutong, or they're just going to let it go with full confidence of the fact that Resurgence would not pick this Yutong?
I'm not entirely sure, because banning out Esmeralda in a position like this is kind of telling me that they don't want to deal. They don't want to deal with people who can just steal away shields. So Harith is on the table, Uranus is on the table, Cho is on the table. Kagura arguably is on the table as well.
I'll just leave it as arguably, alright.
That one, it's compared to like the many different types of, you know, secondary characters coming in from the mage section. Like, alright, fair enough.
Hilda?
Hilda? Alright.
I mean, I wouldn't say like it's like a direct counter for sure, but then again, if EVOS actually wants to go with that aggressive play alongside with the Jawhead, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Yes. That would be a pretty... I mean, it's an option for sure. But again, still too many diverging paths. The general consensus is looking to kind of just not have to deal with anybody's... sorry, not to break our shields.
Yeah. But so the thing is, do they want to lock down this Uranus, or do they want to lock down this usage just for good measures?
EVOS does have first pick. It feels like they've set up for... I mean, they could still go for the Khalid, and then after that pick up the Uranus. Oh no, they're just going to give Yuzong away. It looks like they're opening up the gates here. So Resurgence, they could look to pick up the Uranus as well as the Khalid for themselves.
Khalid against the Yutong, Yutong's definitely not going to have the fun time. But the fact that... But it's not about the laning phase in this case. It's just more about his entire kit towards all of that in the entirety of the team fights as well. Able to get towards that back line. The disruption will be a huge nuisance as well. Ooh, but because they let the usage in away, Forza is gonna lock it down for himself.
Interesting. So they would rather give a Thamos. They would rather select a Thamos rather than taking Khalid or Uranus into the Yuzong, or potentially, you know, a Yuzong Khalid coming in from EVOS SG. That's quite an interesting take for sure.
No, because then I'm only assuming the fact that this time with this lineup as well, they just want to fight as much as possible, because they're already anticipating the fact that after seeing the Yutong, they know the Jawhead will be being picked again. So they're going to go with a lineup where we're not going to go for split push or anything. We're going to ensure Forza is going to be farming, and the four of us will be clashing, or at least trying to slow things down as well for themselves.
Then why would you go for Thamos in that case?
Because like in this case, Thamos can do relative compared to the Khalid. I mean, yeah, sure, Khalid's ultimate is a sort of like a team-based team fight skill, but it's a skill that's very easily dodged.
I suppose. I don't know. This is a bit of a tough one. I feel like it's more preference than anything else.
It's like, okay, in this case, like besides comparing between both stats between both Thamos and Khalid, right? Both is able to sustain in their own way. But I guess in this case, Thamos doesn't really get disrupted while he's sustaining, because he just naturally just spell vamps with that Festival of Blood, whereas Khalid with his Quicksand Guard can easily be disrupted by 2 people already here.
Fair. I mean, that is a pretty good point. Yeah. No, I can. Yeah. I definitely can see it from that angle too. All right. So what does that mean for EVOS SG here? Because now that the Baxia has been locked in, they're getting rid of the Veil, getting rid of the Ling. getting rid of the Valier here. EVOS SG on the other side, what do they need to actually deal with a composition like this? Because again, 2 people are going to get significantly affected by Boxia's ult, the Tortoise Poissons. The negation of healing is kind of a bummer, for sure, but they still don't have something that scales.
No, honestly, if you're asking me right now, like, if they just want to play it very safe, like super safe right now, they can either go for the Cloud or both the carry here to really just deal with this marksman versus marksman for themselves, because just seeing the fact that there's the Resurgence and the Boxer as well, they're just gonna just turtle down, literally just turtle things down here.
Yeah, and they also get rid of the Lunox as well, so now running out of options in terms of the mages section.
Oh, there's still a Chang'e in the game.
Oh yeah, there is still Chang'e, but do they really want to play it, especially when you have something like Yuzong here? You've got something like Jawhead, both of which are actually natural ways to actually deal with it. Ooh, instead they go for the Angela instead.
That's a really great one too.
Huh, alright, okay.
It's really great because not only are you able to really control in the majority inside that team fight, you're able to allow Yisushi or anyone in the team to really just sustain and survive for as long as possible here.
I feel like this is almost a perfect game for EVOS to actually bring out the Eudora. The Eudora and then pair it up with like a Harith or something like that.
Actually, you're not wrong. They can actually just go for it right now if they want to, actually.
They decided to go for the carry, that's fine, but also the Eudora. Alright, so I was wrong about which hyper carry it is, but at least I got the Eudora on lock.
Yeah, you got the Eudora, I got the carry, you know, so it's like heart shapes. Can you fill out my other heart there?
No, stop it. Stop it, Leonard. Stop it, Leonard.
We're 2 sides of the same coin.
Stop showing your fingers at me. Nobody can see this.
Yes, they can. LaFell sees it.
Oh, but now it comes to the last pick coming in for Resurgence to kind of just figure out their composition here.
They need a jungler. Or in this case, not a controller, but in this case, they're going to go with the Ruby, which I think is really great.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be such a weird game.
This is literally, okay, I'm looking at like a straight up either a very hardcore mid game or just like an epic late game battle.
I mean, the late game is not gonna go as well as most people think it's gonna go.
It's not gonna go, yes. It's not gonna go as well as you guys think.
Yeah, because again, Angela is gonna be able to keep Ishinshin alive for a lot longer, but the amount of CC coming in, especially like, it's a tough sell. It's a really tough sell.
Okay, like if we're comparing late game, I'm already assuming like freaking Uranus is gonna be split pushing towards that late game the entire time or cutting creep waves, never dying, never ending. The other team is just gonna be trying to sustain and keep Forza as live as possible. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 3, the last game between both of these amazing titans. They have been showing us an amazing performance, phenomenal performance by far. Who's gonna be taking the top spot here, going to the semifinals against TODAK? Please comment down in the comment section below. Our Facebook social media tag is going to be at MPL-MY and our Instagram tag is going to be at MPL.MYSG.official. You also can check us out on EGG Network and Astro Arena for all of your MLBB action. And of course, do give us some love and support for the BM stream side because Iketo and Karakuri has been doing a really great job as well.
Yeah, they really have been. And now, I mean, this game has been is going to be taking some time here, but EVOS SG, I feel after you were doing your read, I was giving some real thought into this.
Yeah.
Their early game is significantly stronger.
Yes.
Significantly. Just with Jawhead alone, this is going to put RSG in a rather weird spot because they're hoping that Thamus is going to be able to hold the lane by himself. If he crumbles, this game is going to be a huge problem for them.
Then that's why, no, the thing is, I wanted to mention that with the Jawhead, they have really great strengths in that early game. But then after that, I think about it, I'm like, wait, you have Uranus, you have the rest of the team as well. Then it's very difficult for you to really get a hold of who you want to really jump for, because remember, you jump on any of the heroes as well. They control you, they lock you down, and that's pretty much the end of you. They don't really have as much early burst as we were all really hoping for. I mean, yes, you have the Dragon Tail and everything else, but that's if you're all really sticking up for it.
Yeah, no, I think at this point in time, it just comes down to like, what can you do? Like, how do you affect the side lanes, right? Because you're going to be looking to fight for control in the mid side. You already have the Eudora for the most part of it. Don't worry, we're not done with the BM side. We're just showing that it does exist and then come back to us.
Yeah.
And
beautiful people, by the way.
Beautiful people. Angela can hold her own, like especially in one of the side lanes.
Correct.
And it feels weird to send her back into the mid lane to kind of fight for that mid lane control because she can really just kind of just sit there in the side. But then it gives EVOS a bunch of options. It's either I'm going to be looking to punish either Thamos or Angela, one or the other pre-level 4.
No, that means in this case, JPL playstyle will be trying to deny any of the opposing buff, RSG buff in this case, or will he just be camping towards the top side? Because we saw exactly in the second game, I believe, he was actually just camping in that side bush the entire time.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the thing, where it's like you're trying to affect the side laners matchup as much as you can. And we're talking about a Yuzong into potentially a Thamos, not the greatest of matchups. And I'm assuming that, you know, Sol is going to be able to land all of his abilities, so even a simple gank of just walking up, smart missling him and losing at least a quarter of his life will put him in a favorable position.
No, that's the thing, right? I'm just trying to predict it. Okay, we saw a Boxy on the side here of RSG as well, right?
Yes.
So now, just thinking about it as well, is it going to be a KGP Boxy or not?
Probably.
If it's KCP Boxer, that means I'm already assuming that he might just potentially just camp the same brush, or okay, not the same brush, a different brush, but for the same lane. Same goes for JPL. Like they're both going to be able to really support that lane, because literally whether it's that matchup between Yuzong and Thamos really dictates on who's going to be able to dominate that lane for sure.
Ah, man, I don't know.
It's hard to tell, right?
Yeah, no, it's really hard to tell because EVOS has a lot of different ways to kind of attack RSG's composition on the map itself. It's kind of the direction they need to go with. But at the end of the day, one of these side lanes is going to get punished.
Yeah.
And I think there's no going around that. And I'm thinking if there are any other nuances that are important, like whether buff takes are going to be important for either one of these. And I don't think so, at the very least, because they can still do the blade buff if they wanted to. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I feel like I'm missing something here.
No, you're not missing anything at all, because I'm like scratching my head all over the place, and I'm also thinking the fact that they could have at least went for something else, but there's this game 3, this drafting in particular is just pretty much like after they first two picks their heroes, right? It's pretty much just counter picking after that, because literally the reason why they last picked the box here after the first pick phase, that third hero, was mainly not only just to ensure that Thamos doesn't really get countered, but also to counter out that Uranus at the same time. So I'm pretty sure KCP, in this case, he was just like, yeah, I know, I'll help you out. I won't pick what I'm comfortable with, but like, I'll just help you out, that kind of thing.
I'm just gonna be there.
Yeah, because I already can see KCP's reaction. He's like, yeah, he counters you. But if I pick him, I also counter them. Yeah, it works. I'll pick it.
All right, looks like it's time for us to get into game. Talk about perfect timing here as we go over to the third game to determine who is going to be staying in the upper brackets and who is going down to the lower.
Oh man, it's going to be a really epic battle as well, because this is the last game. I feel like we're casting the grand finals as it is, but and it's only the second game or the second match of day number 1 of the playoffs. But either way, seeing the matchup, KGP is going to be babysitting Forza inside his middle lane. Potato going to be alongside with Aeon, and our dear friend Jason going to be roaming around with that Angela. And I just love the fact that JPL is actually just going to be sitting inside that jungle.
Oh, this is good. This is good. Ah, they didn't get the Litho Wanderer. Unfortunately, Potato was able to smite that just in time. But yeah, once again, the matchups are seemingly... Oh, that was close. Nearly stealing that as well. But okay, great pathing from EVOS. They made sure they're at 100% efficiency. Sana trying to get some information on where everybody is exactly. Aeon still level 1.
I mean, yeah, definitely for sure. But at the same time, love what JPL was actually doing as well, because fully understanding the fact that Jawhead, it can be a really great jungler as well with the smart missile. So what he did was he actually just did a lot, significant amount, like bring down the HP of that red buff. So at least this way, it just saves a lot of time for Potato. All he has to do is just take the red, finish it off, and go back to the other buffs or go to this lane. This is going to be allowing him to spike that level a little bit more faster compared to usual. But Pokemon taking a lot of much damage as he gets gone on the top. Here comes the pump on the street coming up for Jason. But then again, he has the Dragon and it's passive. So he's able to sustain for quite a while. Force Blood is going to be drawn and taken away by Resurgence, but JPL looking to try to trade things off, but with the Molten Size and the Shield of Spirit, he's going to slow it down, and with the Molten Doctor, he's going to be able to follow with the rest of the team and secure another kill for Resurgence.
They just forgot about the Mountain Shocker. They were forgetting about the timings of when Fossa was going to hit level 4, and unfortunately, that's going to bite them right in the back. Pokemon, he walked up a little too far. Like, the angle of which he went in, not exactly the smartest as well. However, he got punished, but the rest of his team were focusing more on getting the buffs rather than continuing the fight, because if it did break out to a full-on fight, I don't necessarily think they could have won there. So, well played coming in from RSG.
Really well played indeed. At the same time, going back to the battle lane, say try to cut down this big man Soul all the way down using I'm Offended, but then again Soul's gonna be able to pop up the concentration and just nicely out of the range will be able to break down that attachment coming from the puppet on the string.
Yep. Mountain Shocker coming out once again. Sink is going to get a good push, but look at the mid lane here. KZP, ooh, in trouble. Even drops down the Turquoise Poisons just in case.
And he, at the same time, he has to be really careful as well because remember, this is carry. Ooh, that I love that snipe. It almost denied that TP. Literally slowing things down, buying even more time. But unfortunately, he would not be able to connect here.
Yep. Oh, they're just playing their time here. Once again, the neutral objectives are back up. RSG already on top of Turtle here. And EVOS, they're not contesting. They're looking to go down towards the bottom side to try and punish the one person who has a global ultimate, and that's going to be Angela. And now Jason, he's on the run. He realizes what's going on. He gets stunned and instantly popped by Aeon this time round. Nicely done from EVOS, but they trade a Turtle for Jason's life.
Potentially maybe might be more as well because with the Mountain Shocker, beautiful amount of vision given as well. And Sally Pokemon definitely not having a fun time against the damage inside this top lane. And Sana already coming into the counter. Inferno is going to be able to burn Pokemon out of the lane here. Definitely not chase him out, but now Pokemon just have to fall back.
Yep. Some really good zoning coming in from Zana here. He's a level up. There's nothing much that Pokemon can do. And now KZP, he's running in hard with Angela on his back. They can't seem to go any further than this. Sync as well. It's a 3v4 situation, but no one's really getting as much damage as they want to in. EVOS just say, you know what? This ain't worth it. This ain't worth our time. Let's look for another fight elsewhere.
Definitely for sure. And now Singh gonna be going back to this 1v1 against Soul. Soul's gotta be a little bit more careful as well. But here comes Don't Run Away, Wolf King as well, and Be Good. Gonna be doing quite a significant amount of damage. But remember, this is Uranus. He hasn't even popped. He even has to even pop the consecration, and he's still able to regen back naturally. Singh no choice, popping out the heal regen, gonna be able to heal up, and Forza coming into the Mountain Shocker just to give a little bit of information towards his whole team.
Yeah, Singh just tried to go for the I'm Offended into Flicker combination to kind of get that good old yank. Oh no! Jason, unfortunately, getting one shot once again by all three members coming in of EVOS SG in the mid lane, but they break bottom tier 1. Oh, mid tier 1 wasn't destroyed. KZP was able to kind of clear off the last few minions.
Dude, it's really well played stuff, right? With the line of composition that Resurgence really comes to the game, at least in this way, they're able to clash back and forth. But EVOS SG able to retaliate back, fully understanding the fact that, sure, I was not able to back up Pokemon in that side lanes, but at least we'll be able to punish down Jason, who cannot able to escape with that global. But here comes the global coming in from Angela with the hard gun. But sadly, the hard gun's not going to be enough. And this might be a potential 1-for-2 because KZP is able to roll into the mix here to re-assist Jason.
Oh, that is rough. That is very rough. You can see that he's just desperately just tapping the love taps in the hopes that he would survive. Turtle now taken away by RSG side. Looks like this game is going to be a lot more even than we would have expected it to be.
I mean, definitely for sure, because every time, remember, EVOS SG is only bursting down Jason because Jason has the only one with the global presence. And remember, he cannot really escape at all. And Resurgence on the other hand, our dear friend Forza with the usage, he's going to be able to farm out as much as possible.
Yep, KZP taking way too much damage here, but the Revitalize buys him just enough time to take full rotations of spells. Sync now in trouble, goes down over to Yusong as Forza once again has to drop down that Mountain Trucker. They're hoping, but he gets ejected backward. EVOS SG can't seem to get the angle in this area. There's nothing they can do there. Forced to back away. Jason once more, if he gets caught by any form of CC, he is goner.
Doing really well play. EVOS SG applying even more aggression. The best part about it, they still have the soul, just consecration did pop up, followed by the unstoppable force as well, but Sally Sana trading things out, melting down the Eudora. Here comes the ejector, but he already pops up the ultimate, burning him down. The hard guard maintaining him. Pokemon popping out the Black Dragon transformer just in the nick of time, allowing him to just escape from that perilous situation.
Yep, they're jumping in pretty hard. Jason, all three members are on top of Potato, and there goes their carry. Now, starting off with a perfect score of 3-0 and 2, now 3-1 and 2. Well done for RSG. Looking to fight back. This is looking more like game 1.
Now it's looking a little bit more clean here But ooh, here comes I'm offended. He pulls Soul all the way under the tower. It doesn't matter if you have consecration. You're gonna be blasted down to heaven, baby.
Nicely done, nicely done. RSG kicking in it hard, but JPL, Pokemon, and Aeon are looking to rotate to make something happen here. Aeon, he's got to be careful. Oh, he quickly flickers out of the way. Mid-tier 1 is going to be going down here, and RSG will take the lead in terms of gold.
No, I love it. Trades happening all across the map. If one person gets picked off, each of his team will ensure they get that equivalent trade. And JPL still trying to find that opening, find Sing, but that's not what he wants to really go for. But unfortunately, Forza enters the bush and he has lost sight of his main target. Coming down, Unstoppable Force, Marcel is not going to be enough as our dear friend Sing pulls him all the way back as he was offended with JPL's engagement.
Yep, that's going to be a 1-for-0 trade, but Pokemon on the back line. He's trying to get Fossa. He's pulling Fossa around. Soul, he sees an opportunity, but now they need to ensure they get the most bang for buck, and they secure the kill onto Ruby. But look on the top side, nobody has stopped Sana from pushing it all the way in, forcing JPL to respond. Now the tides are sort of evening it out, and they're playing it slow and steady to ensure they get maximum damage, but that's going to be Jason going down over to Soul off of a single CC coming in from Aeon.
Really well played, but then again, at the same time, Resurgence was, or Jason in this case, was totally fine giving him his life for it as well, because because he already did his job, he already committed his ultimate, committed a majority of his spells, he just needs to ensure that the main core members or main damage dealers will be able to maintain and stay alive as long as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, what initially was, I was thinking that Resurgence was going to start snowballing off of that one effect. It looks like EVOS is willing to fight just as hard. It's from 23.3k to 23.6k, only a 0.3k difference, and that's considering how many towers they've lost, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad at all, but then again, Sana gonna be really careful as well because he's currently alone, but the rest of the team is just trying to back him up. I love JPL. He's trying to hold down the line as long as possible, trying to delay their rotation to see if they're able to save his teammate, and as the rest of the team will slowly disengage and fall back.
Yeah. They're going to be pushed in here. Soul versus Sync once again, but Sync knows he's getting close, but he's pretty sure that his ult is going to come back up soon, and that just means that she just has to buy her time. EVOS looking to trying to fight into mid-river here. RSG playing it slow. KZP looking to hold his ground, but Sync, he's still in trouble. Potato should be able to pick up this kill on top of him. Is he going to get it at the top? She's still surviving with all that spell vamp. Wow.
That's Ruby for you as well. Just constantly just healing, regenerating, and spell vamping all the way. But remember, what's really amazing, what Soul was actually doing inside this game, fully understanding the fact that he is a Uranus, constantly going for the split push, but he's pressuring the lanes, ensuring that forcing one member of Resurgence to actually rotate down to fight him off. And what happens is going to be Sing, because Sing knows he's the only one that can not only try to do damage, but actually contest against Soul head-on 1v1.
I wouldn't even say it's just that. I would also say, I don't have the right words for it right now, because when we're talking about mind games here from both sides and both different angles from either team here, ideally you don't want to lose somebody, and ideally you want to be able to get that side lane pressure. But I think in Soul's mind here, his team isn't necessarily strong enough until he gets Potato in a comfortable position. So they're waiting for him to get to that point. They've got the Endless Battle as well as the Golden Staff, so he's going to continue to relieve pressure until they absolutely need him.
Just really well placed up, but then again, Law, Mountain Shocker is going to be able to reveal that the Law is currently being taken a halfway ticket as well. Pokemon going to be committing that Black Dragon well, and Soul coming in straight from the backline, so instantly jumps on top of Forza. Forza no way to escape as well. Unstoppable Force coming in from JPL as well. Forza no choice but to run away, but then sadly, Soul still has his flicker, and with the Ionic Edge, he will pick Forza off instantly. Sana trying his best to pick up AR, will get the kill for himself, but JPL with the smart missile will literally bombard him down to the ground. And Jason, all alone, will have to force himself to retreat. Hopefully he can run away, but not in the face of Soul, as he ensures that you will never get out of this fight alive.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that was definitely a very interesting fight there, because, I mean, the fact that Resurgence was so spread out like that and they could easily isolate their targets just made them so easy to pick off for the side of EVOS SG. And now, after the first member went down, it just all came crashing down on top of them. EVOS, they're going to be able to get this Lord here. Oh boy, this is going to be it. Let's see whether or not RSG can win this next 50-50.
tournament. It's going to be really close as well. Pokemon's going to be able to pick up the Oracle. But what's really amazing, especially before that fight, prior towards that fight as well, we saw Soul pushing out that top lane and slowly rotated down towards his fight, but he ensured that at least in this way, he's still able to get towards his back line. And that's what really amazing, as he was able to get on top of both Jason and Forza at the same time.
Okay, so what's the next? Oh, wait, hold on. They actually get pulled. I'm offended over the wall. JPL now in trouble. Can't seem to get up. He does open the injector into unstoppable force, but Sada, he's right in the middle of the fight. Can they finish him up? No, they cannot. The love taps. He's coming in with the Black Dragon form. Sada, he hops out of the way, and now they're turning their targets onto Sync. He's in trouble. He goes down, and Soul, he's running away to make sure he's not caught on the puppet of the string, but Forza can only do so much as Pokemon going head deep into enemy territory, even under the inhibitor.
Oh, so much damage coming from Aeon as well. But look at it, all 3 lanes. Big hit so hard, and the top inhibitor will eventually fall into the hands of EVOS SG. The mid and the bottom not too long after, because the Lord is finally here and is clashing and hitting that inhibitor really hard.
Yeah, and now can they finish it off? They can. It looks like this might be it. RSG, one last time. They've got to protect it. Sync is coming back up to life. They should be able to get Lourve with no issues whatsoever. But EVOS, they won it. They found their target. They picked him off, and there goes Sana, their biggest member on their side. Forza now has to try his very best, but he doesn't have the items to clear them off. They're pushing on through. They're trying their best. They're trying to delay it, but it isn't enough. The minions will take this game. And there you have it. It's going to be EVOS taking it 2-1 against RSG in convincing and struggling and just pure insanity of a game.
GG WP. Well played coming from EVOS SG, baby. I'm really happy. I'm super happy. What really went down is a majority of this fight as well. Finally, JPL definitely game 1 a little bit. There was some initiation. Game 2, a little bit confidence. In game 3, with his jaw hit, he was like, I'm warmed up, I'm jacked up. Let's just catch anyone I can find.
Yeah, and they did. They just, every single time, every single game, they just increased the tempo by 1, and they pumped it up all the way through, taking their momentum, getting it onto the end. So, spicy game between EVOS and RSG. And it looks like, most predictions were wrong. EVOS was able to take the cake.
Yeah, it really is. Or maybe it's just, it's just our dear friend.
It's just analyst predictions.
Yeah, it's just analysts, It's just LaFell. It's LaFell's.
Man. I don't know when it's gonna ever die. The fact that LaFell it's either he's 100% correct or it does the opposite effect. There really is no in between for him.
Oh man, but then again, I'm assuming we're gonna be getting a social media post from Matthew very soon.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But honestly, let's see how far EVOS is going to go. Because again, if EVOS is able to bring it all the way and knock TODAK down, that means they're going to be sitting in the grand finals. Or if they themselves get knocked down and Resurgence is able to win their next game, then they're going to be paired up once again. And then it becomes an elimination match, and that's a whole new set of stakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the Aladdin song in this case, a whole new world in this case. In that lower bracket, seriously.
Kind of felt like he fell off the carpet and it's just like, oh no.
Fall off the carpet, I feel like he's still dangling, right?
He's still holding on with his toes,
he's like,
flying through the sky.
He's like, I'm just in lower bracket, I'm not out of the tournament just yet. I'm still in the playoffs, baby.
Princess Jasmine, don't leave me.
Princess Jasmine is more like Princess Matthew. Don't let me go.
Don't let go. But no, coming back to the tournament itself, like, this has been some high-quality gameplay. Overall, we haven't seen too much. I mean, okay, to be fair, there was one bad game.
To be fair,
there was a bad game, but that's because it's like, you made the mistake, so your opponent team is looking to punish you, and you just can't play at a lower level anymore. You have to be able to play at such a high level. The simplest of mistakes can be your opportunities to take your opponents out.
Yeah, I mean, still, just a really phenomenal job coming from over this team. This 2-1, really long game.
It really was. It was like, what, 20-minute plus game?
Yeah, and the best part about it, there was so much action happening in the mix. It's not like both these teams like throwing spells at each other. They're like calculating, positioning, knowing who to go for, who to gun for, who to literally just drop everything just to save someone else, right? I'm just like, yo, that is a lot of epic plays that's happening here. And
well, Yeah, it was pretty epic, but I'm most happy that Aeon got to play Eudora and not get hyper punished for it. Because, man, game 1 was really rough.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's time to throw it over to our analyst to break down this game for your viewing pleasure.
Hello. And Casters salahkan saya, cakap saya pilih Resurgence. Saya salahkan balik Casters, kenapa tak pilih EVOS? I was the first to vote Resurgence. They all see me vote Resurgence. Why you don't vote EVOS? I don't understand. Hiya, simple logic, simple mathematics. Also salah kah? Oh my god. Anyways, this is all just to show that casters all cannot pakai one. Let's look at the highlight yang dibawakan khas oleh Yudu to see what really happened in the game. So dekat sini kita dapat Resurgence, mereka yang ambil inisiatif untuk cakap, okay, we gotta go aggressive early on disebabkan diorang cakap, okay, Jason, you pakai Angela, you're gonna be pretty good masa awal because you ada banyak slow and you boleh ikatkan everyone here. And dekat this game, EVOS SG, lagi sekali, I nak cakap, the stand-up player, even though Potato played really well, but